of downtown Montreal, rising up from the St. Lawrence River. Today, this 2.7-mile track hosts the only international race of the NASCAR season, and agendas vary as much as the track's 14 turns. Points leader Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he views this race as a hurdle on the way to the championship. And Danica Patrick is in the field today. She's making her first nationwide start on a road course. She starts 25th. Last year's winner, Borsett, is also racing here today. He's hoping to make it back-to-back wins here at this Montreal racetrack. The All-Star field also includes Indy 500 pole sitter Alex Tagliani, who's starting on the front row right next to Canadian racing hero Jacques Villeneuve. Villeneuve racing here today with family pride and is looking to earn his first nationwide win here at this track. NASCAR Countdown is next.
Excusez-moi. I am Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Welcome to my beautiful home, Montreal. I greet you with open arms, for this is the most international, most diverse stock car race of the year. A mosaic of different drivers from different series, accustomed to different cars.
It's going to be tough. They can wheel hop, they can bend fenders, they can spin out.
Fasten up the seatbelts. It's going to be crazy.
I am unique. A road course at once inviting and demanding. My views are picturesque, but my expectations for perfection are not to be questioned. The extremities of my construct have led droves to distract. Attempt to hug my curves and you may find yourself clenching for a most unwelcome embrace. Respect my corners. Keep off the grass. Enjoy my straightaways, for they are few and far between. And keep one eye on the weather.
It's out of hand how wet it is down there.
Should it rain, there will be no red flags, no mercy. I am Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. I am a fair course, but a demanding course. And I welcome you to one of the most unique races of the year.
Welcome everyone to NASCAR Countdown, presented by One Main Financial. There is no rain in the forecast here today. It's an absolutely beautiful day here in Montreal. Temperatures are in the mid-80s. Now, we haven't even seen the green flag yet, and drama is already starting to build. Carl Edwards, Trevor Bayne, Marcus Ambrose, all three drivers that are supposed to be in the field here today, they haven't arrived yet. They're still making their way from Michigan, where they're handling Sprint Cup duties. So, of course, we'll keep you updated as far as their status of arriving at the track and who may have to start this race for them. Now,
at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec.
For the presentation of colors, please welcome members of the Royal Mounted Canadian Police. Les membres de la Gendarmerie royale du Canada pour la présentation des drapeaux. Et maintenant, pour la prière des pilotes now for the invocation, accueillons Monseigneur Alain Faubert. Monseigneur Alain Faubert.
Prenons un moment de prière ensemble. Let us all pray together now. Seigneur notre Dieu, nous te demandons de bénir ces pilotes et leur équipe. Accorde-leur de prendre part à cette course avec un véritable esprit sportif et protège-les alors qu'ils vont donner le meilleur d'eux-mêmes. Lord, our God, bless these drivers and their teams. Guide them throughout this event and lead them in safety to the finish line. We thank you, Lord. We praise you, Lord. Amen.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez maintenant vous lever, retirer chapeaux et casquettes pour l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you'll please rise, remove hats and caps for the singing of the national anthems by Mrs. Andréane Duquette.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front est ceint de fleurs glorieux, car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God, keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
You can feel the electricity at home because you could hear in the background as these proud Canadians sang their national anthem both in French and in English. And then we come back. Look at this crowd. We're going to get this race started, and we're going to have a ball here in Canada.
NASCAR Nationwide Series at Montreal is brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at codespotter.com for a chance to win one-of-a-kind NASCAR VIP experiences.
As a team, back here in Montreal, where we're getting ready to fire the engines as we get ready for this one and only race outside the U.S. for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. NASCAR Traveling Series at all, we should say. And as we come topside one more time, let's talk a little bit about the atmosphere. I mean, there are reports, I'm sure probably if you follow the series, that this might be the last race. I hope that it doesn't happen. I think, look at this. I mean, the energy is just amazing.
I hope they're coming back. I really do, Marty, because just like you said, it's energetic out here. These people are really pumped up. The place is beautiful. And look, we've had some bad luck here with rain and things like that, but not today. Today it's beautiful. This crowd is amazing. The track is going to be great. It's going to be fast. There will be wrecks, but it's going to be exciting. I hope we stay here.
Let's flash back a couple of road course races ago at Road America. We learned some very difficult lessons, especially guys like Justin Allgaier.
Oh, big-time lessons. I mean, these guys, and I think what they've learned, they can't gamble on fuel. Be ready for about 3 green-white checkers, the max allowed. I mean, look at Justin Allgaier. I think he's got this thing won at Road America. Runs out of fuel late in the race. They cannot gamble on fuel, Ricky.
You're right, Rusty. One of the ways that you save fuel is under caution. You can push the clutch in and coast downhill, or even shut the engine off. You can save a considerable amount of fuel. Problem is, there's no downhill here on this track. It's completely flat. I don't know how they're going to save fuel today, Rusty.
Well, and the other key area, starts and restarts.
Yeah, restarts are a compromise. The drivers have to be very careful, very delicate, and if they aren't careful and delicate, they could suffer a self-inflicted wound. You watch these turn 1, turn 2 entries. Very, very difficult to get through there by yourself. Try 2 wide.
And they sail them in there, Ricky, and they get hot in the corner, run off course, get through the grass, and get all over the place right here. And we're going to see this restart after restart. I haven't seen very many clean restarts at this track. These guys are aggressive. The track is narrow. And because of that, they get really, really uptight, get on the brakes hard, come to the gear shifter. This is one of the most aggressive racetrack, crashing-prone places I've ever seen. But it's exciting to watch.
All right, let's take a look now at our onboard cameras as we've got the total of 8 of them. And you can see that there's Elliott Sadler in the One Main Financial Chevrolet. Danica Patrick, of course, across the top. Justin Allgaier in the 31. We'll be talking a little bit more about Justin in a matter of moments. Reed Sorensen, of course, in that points championship battle along with Sadler. And of course, our points leader, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And then Scott Speed in the number 33, and a specialty camera on him as he's got a foot camera, as also Carl Edwards, Stephen Wallace, and Patrick Carpentier in his final race. He, too, has a foot camera as well, so we'll be able to watch that heel-toe action. Let's go trackside and fire him up.
Et maintenant, pour prononcer les paroles que tous les amateurs de course attendent impatiemment. And now, to say these words you've all been waiting for. À nouveau accueillant le président, chef des opérations de l'UAP. Let's welcome once again the president and CEO of UAP, Monsieur Robert Atem. Il vous écoute, monsieur.
Conducteurs, démarrez vos moteurs. Drivers, start your engines.
Fire 'em up, bud. Fired up, man. Fired up. Bring it up. Fired up. Fired up. Fired up. All the way around here. So the driver's right.
But I can tell you, the engines were the only thing we had to fire up because the fans have been fired up. We're fired up, and we hope you are as well. Our in-race reporter is going to be Justin Allgaier, the man who had all the misfortune of running out of fuel back at Road America. And we'll talk to him when we come back here to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec. Here in Montreal, the crowd erupts into the roar as the cars pull out onto the racetrack, and it is just so electric here. It is, hopefully, you're feeling it back home, like we said, because it has just been amazing. Across the top of your screen, here is the starting lineup. Now, several DNQs. Jean-Francois Dumoulin, Tim George, Brett Rowe, Chase Miller, Tommy Dreese, they all were not able to qualify. Now, Dreese has jumped into the 75, so he'll start in the rear, as will Carl Edwards, Marcus Ambrose, Trevor Bayne, because of the driver change. So it should be fun watching those guys trying to come from the back. Let's go to our in-race reporter, Justin Allgaier. Let's talk to him, Rusty.
Hey, Justin Allgaier, Rusty Wallace up here at ESPN. You got us?
Yeah, Rusty, loud and clear. Go ahead, bud.
Hey, we've got an ESPN mailbag question that comes from David in Springfield, Massachusetts. His question is, how does this track differ from the other 2 road courses you've run this season?
Well, that's a great question. The biggest answer that I can give you is this track is really suited to Road America, the elevation changes. But it's a really technical course.
Lots of really tight corners, especially left and right, and hard on brakes. That's the biggest thing I can preach is today's going to be all about tire conservation, brake conservation, and hopefully we can get this Florida Gold Series for its fun.
Okay, thanks a lot for talking to us, Justin. We're going to go talk to your crew chief, Jimmy Ellich.
Jimmy Ellich, Ricky Craven in the ESPN booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Hey, Jimmy, there's a lot to think about on this road course, but nothing more important than preserving the brakes. Now, will you have to coach your driver today to save those brakes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's easy, as you well know, to get caught up in racing hard, and that's what Justin's going to do and want to do all day long. But the name of the game here is going to be conserve brakes and, get your fuel mileage numbers and readings early on in the race and figure out when you can get to that get home lap and make sure you got brakes for once you get to that point so you can race really hard at the end.
Yeah, sounds great, Jimmy. Thanks a lot for your time. Have a great race.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And we still have just enough time to be able to get one last check down on pit road. Let's first lead down to Rick DeBrule.
Well, Marty, Elliott Sadler may be impressed with the star-studded entry list this weekend, but he knows his job here is this simple this weekend. Not to race the stars, to come away with as many points as possible. He can't fix the mistakes or the misfortunes of the last few weekends. He knows he has to go for points. And it's especially important, he says, to know who you're racing on the track. If it's somebody you're duking out for the championship, well, definitely go for it. But if it's a one-off guy, well, you don't want to go and do something that ends up taking both of you out, especially with a guy who isn't concerned about the championship. Jim Noble?
Well, Rick, today is the final act in the 27-year career of Patrick Carpentier. He plans to retire after this race, and what a career it's been. 5 kart wins, even won a Sprint Cup pole a couple of years ago in New Hampshire. Patrick has a 10-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old son, simply wants to spend more time with them, but what a way it would be to go out with a great performance here in his home province of Quebec. Over to Shannon Spake.
Well, it's the first time in Nationwide Series history 2 Canadians are starting on the first row. And while Jacques Villeneuve's looking to win a race here at the track named after his father, it's actually Alex Tagliani who's driving the number 12 car. That is the same number car that Gilles Villeneuve drove to victory lane here at Montreal in the very first race held back in 1978. Now, Gilles Villeneuve was a huge childhood hero of Alex Tagliani. In fact, when Tagliani was 9 years old, he wore a shirt of Gilles Villeneuve. Wore it every single day, he told me. He made his mom wash it every night. In fact, it faded by the end of the season. Now, the crew guys on this team, they've taken that picture and they have taped it to the inside of Tagliani's car so that he can look at it during this race and know exactly what is on the line here. Marty?
Inspiration, to say the least. Thank you, Shannon. Let's also flash back to last week, because if you remember the nationwide race, several teams had trouble in pit road. How about Jimmy Johnson? Fuel can goes for a ride. Didn't happen just to him. It was also several other cars, including Jason Leffler in the 38. And hold on. No, couldn't quite get it. And the 01 of Mike Wallace. Not only did can go outside the box, so did the fueler. Well, that brings us to Sean Pete. He's going to be our over-the-wall reporter. Sean, the Jackman on the number 32 of Reed Sorensen. Sean, any chance we're going to see that same kind of problem this week?
No, I don't think so, guys. I think the angle's a lot better on the car. This is just like riding a bike for these guys. So, I mean, they make that job out to be harder than it is anyways. It's, I mean, they got to stick the can in the car, and that's about it. So, no, they do a great job. It should be easier for them. Like I said, all they're doing is north of the border, so they should be fine.
All right, thank you very much. As you guys be safe down there today. Of course, we should point out Sean is from Vancouver, British Columbia. All right, word on the 16 down on pit road. Shannon, what's going on?
Radio problems already, Marty. We told you, we obviously documented Trevor Bayne making it to the track from Michigan. He went out onto the track for the laps, the first couple laps, and he could not hear the crew, so they brought him down pit road. They told him to stay here until they get the radio fixed, because obviously communication extremely important, especially here at Montreal, and he is now down and away, guys, so it looks like they may have gotten that fixed. We'll definitely keep you updated if anything should happen.
And as we pointed out, he will be starting in the back of the field anyway, so no harm, no foul there. And how about Carl trying to get some adjustments today? Now, Billy Johnson qualified this car.
Yeah, Billy did a good job qualifying it, but Carl, we've seen him win in this car here before. He's making some final adjustments. He's in the car now. He's belted in safely. He feels comfortable, just some last-minute changes. He's going to have to start tailback no matter what. So this is no harm, no foul. They can take his time and be careful about everything he's doing.
Yeah, they want to get it right because this is the only opportunity they have, Rusty. He's rolling off pit road now.
And let's talk a lot about our Goodyear track facts as we get ready to go green here at the 2.7-mile layout of Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. We're going to go 74 laps, but that all-important pit window.
Yeah, they got to be very mindful of this pit window. I mean, these guys could run out of fuel right here. I mean, you got to remember what happened at Road America. They tried to run too long, too many green-white checkers, run themselves out of fuel. These cars can run about max 27, 28 laps. This is the window we pick, Ricky, 25 to 27 laps for our fans.
Yeah, they're going to be safe. Now, keep in mind, they qualified 3 laps, 4 if you count the cool-down lap, and then they have these 2 warm-up laps. So their pit window on that first stop will be inside 19 to 20 laps instead of the 25 to 27. A lot of calculating here on this 2.71-mile track.
Well, you want to talk about calculating? Let's talk a little pit strategy. Stephen Wallace in the 66. Jim Noble, what are you hearing?
That's right, Marty. Just checked in with Doug Randolph, the crew chief on the 66. He is going to bring Steve Wallace down pit road on lap 4. They're going to take left side tires, might take 4, but probably only 2. They are planning to get some extra fuel in that car. Doug Randolph has told Steve Wallace, I need to plan for more than 1 green-white checkered at the end of this thing. We need to get ourselves in position to do that, so they will pit on lap 4.
And this is a good point because 3 of our 4 races have gone green-white checker here.
Yeah, and the whole point is what I just mentioned about the 19 to 20. By pitting early on lap 4, now that puts them inside their fuel window, a full tank of fuel, and then they can do it in 2 stops.
Well, I think they don't think they can get as good a fuel mileage as I think they can get. I think they could have, stopped this thing probably around lap 20 or something, been fine, but they're concerned about what happened in Road America and running out of fuel late in this race with the pit window being what it is. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. There's a lot of different strategies out here, and I just can't wait to see who's going to bite first and hit pit road. Lap 4, that's awful early.
Well, and we'll see if it works, because remember, the one thing about road course racing, you do not want to pit under a caution.
You do not want to pit under caution. The other thing we got to keep in mind is that this tire is the tire that was run at Infineon. Boris said, a road course expert told me, I just don't like this tire. We've heard that, Marty, Rusty, all weekend long. That's echoed through the garage here. Not really comfortable on this tire.
There you see from high above. Now to the right there, that is the rowing course that was used back in the 1976 Olympics. It is still in use today, and it's a perfect rectangle as we pull back. And they're getting ready to come through the last couple of corners. This is that one trouble area that Rusty was pointing out. Turns 13 and 14. Marcus Ambrose remembers that corner all too well. It cost him a race win against Carl Edwards. Here we come down towards the starting line, and the crowd is on their feet. And the Napa 200 from Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec. You see exactly why Villeneuve took the inside, that right side.
He chose driver right for the start of the race. That was not the perfect line for turn 1, but it set him up great for turn 2, which is the high-speed exit.
Yeah, that was really good turn 2 exit, but I will tell you, when the restarts start happening, guys, that's going to be different. These guys are going to bomb down to that corner. They're going to get real aggressive. They're being very, very kind to each other on that first corner, I can promise you.
So far, everybody taking good care of each other. No contact. Down through turn 6 complex.
Yeah, Marty, this is a really clean start. And at this point, it's all about establishing a rhythm. You really don't want to race one another. You want to race the track. You want to reestablish those braking points, those turn-in points, those accelerating points. And then 3 or 4 laps into it, you can start to get aggressive.
Yeah, guys, right now they're just kind of being cool out there because they've got to. They want to get to that first pit window, that first pit stop. Get in there clean. Don't wear their brakes out. Take care of their equipment right now.
Listen to the fans, because Jacques is in the lead. The French-Canadian crowd, they'll be cheering every time.
He's in the lead, but Jason Leffler's giving him a run for his money to lead this first lap. It's going to be interesting as they all cycle through this hairpin turn. It's going to be interesting coming into the final 2 turns.
Yeah, they get flat sailing down this straightaway right here, guys. About 170 miles an hour. Down here hard on the brake, down to second gear. And
this leads into turn 13. Look how big those strips are on the inside there, Ricky. It throws the car crazy through there.
It is crazy. To put it in perspective, they go from 35 miles an hour to 174 miles an hour. We've completed a lap.
And it is Jacques Villeneuve in front of Leffler, Tagliani, Scott Speed, Stephen Wallace in 5th, Robbie Gordon in 6th, McDowell 7th, Ranger 8th, Carpentier 9th, and Boris Said in 10th.
Pretty predictable start here, guys, like we talked about. Everybody minding their P's and Q's, being cool. But I will tell you, this part of the racetrack right through here, turn 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, stuff like that, on the back side of the track. This is where we saw a lot of wrecks last year. A lot of guys wheel hopping, a lot of guys sliding off the course, a lot of problems.
Jim, 60's in.
That's right. Mike Beam told Carl Edwards to come in after the first lap. This is simply to top off. No ground to lose since they're starting in the back. Now they can make it on 2 more stops.
But can they make a green-white checker?
Well, that's another great question. They'll deal with that when they get to it, Marty, but it's all about getting back those 3 or 4 gallons they lost qualifying and warming up at pre-race.
So they end up stopping even sooner than your son Steven's going to. Oh, well, Trevor Bayne spins it. Now, remember, he was at the back of the field, so if he can just keep it fired and get back into it, he'll be all right.
And Trevor didn't have a lot of practice time, did he, this weekend? So, you know, it's hard to get out of a car at Michigan. You got 200-mile-an-hour corner entry speeds at Michigan, then you fly over here and you start this race. We watch him sail down in the corner. A little bit of a wheel hop, Rusty, and he loses the back of the car.
Yeah, it's like he just completely missed this corner exit of turn 2 right there and just spun it around. Now, you got to give him a break because this is the first time he's been on this track. And it's slick out here. It's hot. And he just does not have his rhythm going right now, Ricky. He'll get that as the race goes on.
Yeah, you got to make a mistake. Make it early. You can recover from it.
See Stephen trying now to break the 33 of Scott Speed, getting into turn 1 right there. Working his bumper up off the exit of turn 2. These guys got to be a little bit careful right now. Not to get too aggressive early in this run.
Yeah, that right there was a reflection of what I've seen from all the drivers so far. That was not a deliberate attempt to pass. That was just a, all right, if you give it to me, I'll take it. But he closed the door, and Steven said, all right, I'll wait for the next lap.
And that third car in that line, the 77, is Robbie Gordon.
I tell you, Robbie, I'll never forget the first year here. This guy can flat run this track. You talk about getting aggressive and getting mad at each other. I saw this the first race. Robbie and who was it? Kevin
Marcus
Harvick?
Ambrose.
Marcus Ambrose.
All of them there, yeah.
You got to admire Robbie's dedication to this race this weekend. He's been here for 3 days, right? He hadn't gone back and forth to Michigan.
And his car did not qualify for the Cup race. So if he wants a payday, it's going to come here today.
Marty, I just saw Jason Leffler getting that car, lock up the rear brakes, and about to spin it. Getting in that corner right in front of us. That's the indication of what Tim Brewer was talking about when he was talking about brakes. Too much rear brake. If you get that, you can wheel hop and slide the back of the car in the corner. That's what we just saw the 38 and Leffler just do.
Rusty, the brake specialists here are telling me that there's 4,000 pounds of clamping torque on these brakes. That's 8 times the torque that you got to the rear wheels. Just to put it in perspective, these tires are abused more, 8 times more on braking than they are on accelerating.
Yeah, to double that. Later in the race, guys, the brakes are really going to start fading. They're going to get bad. Okay, here we see Alex Tagliani hitting pit road right now for his stop, guys.
So he's coming in at the conclusion of lap number 3. So he, too, is going to take advantage, top off early, get some clean track, and get back out.
And that's the best point right there, Marty. I don't think that there's a lot of risk here because, as you said, they have clean track when they leave pit road. They're by themselves. They can focus on the racetrack, and they can run faster than if they were in traffic.
Well, he was having difficulty trying to get back around Jason Leffler. And Shannon, you're in the 12th pit.
Yeah, guys, the call is for fuel only for this number 12. We're seeing this strategy start so early in this race. They're also going to clean the grill as you see them trying to work on that right now. Alex Tagliani driving the number 12 car of his childhood hero is down and away, guys.
So he has made his first stop as we have completed 3 of the 74 laps here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And it is his son Jacques out in front. He's led every single lap so far. He's opened up a 1.8-second lead over Jason Leffler. And let's talk a little bit about Marcus Ambrose because, of course, he had the big win last week at Watkins Glen in Cup. He has already picked up 18 spots. He's 27 here on the track. Hey, welcome back to the Napa Auto Parts 200. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. You're looking at race leader Jacques Villeneuve as he goes around the 89 of Morgan Shepherd. Morgan is the first car to go a lap down. 2 have pulled off. Jeff Green and Eric McClure are behind the wall. Behind Villeneuve, it's Jason Leffler, but 3.8 seconds behind.
Marty, you got Jacques Villeneuve running 3/4 of a second faster than the second and third place cars. You know, maybe you just throttle back a little bit. We know you have to save brakes. I've never seen anybody drive deeper in the corner than Jacques Villeneuve. This would be a good time for the crew chief to come on and say, all right, time to roll out of it a little bit, save me some race car.
And Marcus Ambrose is in early. Shannon?
Guys, remember, Owen Kelly is the driver who shook this car down practice and qualified. Ambrose is saying that the rear end is a little bit lazy. They made a track bar adjustment and fuel only.
And Owen Kelly, a childhood friend, they actually raced together in the V8 supercars in Australia. A little bit different build size, but knows his style very much and did a great job qualifying that number 9 car.
Yeah, very good replacement for Marcus. He's got a lot of understanding. He respects what the guy did in his car. They're good friends. So it was a good choice to put him in there, let him qualify and get ready.
How about this little action taking place back in the field there as the 99 of Patrick Carpentier has Ron Fellows, a former winner here, all over his back bumper.
Yeah, a couple of great Canadian racers. And Patrick Carpentier told me prior to the race, as he's battling for 8th place here, if I win, I might have a press conference Monday saying I'm out of retirement. Other than that, I'm done. I'm going back to Las Vegas and run my construction company.
Well, and Fellows looks like he is going to get around him as did Carpentier peel off. Yes, he has peeled off to head for pit road, so that makes a good reason why he would be slowing down heading in, because that's the entrance to pit road right there at turn 13.
Marty, I'm very, very surprised these guys are all pitting this early. A lot of them are just concerned about the fuel mileage. They're getting about 3.7 to 3.9. They're thinking now at the Glen and Road America, they were getting up to 4.2 miles per gallon. A lot of nervous guys. Jim, here they come.
That's right. Patrick Carpentier pulls in. They're going to clean off the grill and top off fuel. Nothing more than that. Patrick says he likes the race car. He's a little free. Other than that, he's happy with that number 99 machine. Over to Shannon.
It's going to be prevent and defense is the motto for Ricky Stenhouse today. Looking for that championship at the end of the season. It's going to be fuel only. They're also wiping the grill and Sunoco fuel.
You know, Rusty, I was doing some math. I understand your point, but I have these guys coming up 4 laps short. In other words, if they don't make this early stop, I see them going to lap 70 and having to pit a 4th time. I think they're just trying to get inside that window to make it a total of 3 stops for the race.
Well, I guess I like to gamble just a little bit more than most of these guys. At the midpoint of the race, I feel like there's going to be some cautions flags. These cars can make some fuel under caution laps.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And right now, they're not gambling on anything at all. It's got to be from being scared at Road America from what happened there.
And Ricky, I get a kick on this because the guy sitting in between us didn't even know his own car was coming in on lap 4, and he did.
Well, I do like your point. It's the time of year where you don't gamble. You know, these guys are battling for a championship. They're going to be conservative. As you see, Jacques Villeneuve follow suit with everyone else, hit pit road, top off with fuel.
So he's going to surrender the race lead that he has held for all 6 laps, and he brings it in to pit road, and that means Jason Leffler is now at point ahead of Scott Speed, Robbie Gordon, and Michael McDowell and Andrew Ranger. Shannon?
As you guys see, the 22, Jacques Villeneuve, your pole sitter, he's on his way to pit road. It's going to be fuel only for Jacques. Now, I did speak with his crew chief. He told me one thing they were really concerned about this weekend was the brakes. We know from past races, Jacques Villeneuve is very aggressive on those brakes. They have a lot of air moving to it to keep them cool. Guys?
We can also tell you Eric Almirola is in pit road right now, so he too getting service. But Jason Leffler, who in 16 prior road course races, his best finish is 6th. He's running out front right now.
Rusty, you mentioned it during the countdown to the green. He's done a great job these last 3 days, and he's having the run of his life as we watch Jacques Villeneuve get back up to speed after coming off a pit road. Danica Patrick right in front of her. She's doing a solid job.
They mentioned Danica Patrick. Let's get an update on her situation. Rick DeBrule.
Yeah, it's interesting because talking before the race, Tony Eury Jr. had talked about the potential to bring Danica in at 4 or 5 laps. They were saying basically that they probably need a fuel strategy race to make any kind of a substantial dent and move ahead, as opposed to being sort of a 10 to 15 kind of finish. But they're a little bit earlier in the race. They were talking to her, making sure to remind her that she needs to save the brakes, to turn on those blowers for the front brakes so she doesn't wear them out, so she can keep racing the entire time.
Well, to give you an idea, she's running 17th. Villeneuve has already taken his pit stop. He's running 18th, guys. That's how fast he was.
But Rusty, are these drivers so worried about brakes because they had it hammered into their heads all week long? Are they so concerned that they're being conservative on the racetrack?
They are. They know that this track right here is the hardest track on the entire circuit. It's harder than the short track we've got at Martinsville, Virginia. That's awful hard on brakes. It's harder than any other road course they run. And it's drilled in their head. They can't burn them up. They got to be careful, and they got to cool them down, Marty.
Well, those top 5 have not made a stop. They're leading in lap number 9 of 74 at Montreal. Back here at Montreal, the second and third car on your screen are the race leaders. That's the 38 of Jason Leffler and Scott Speed right behind him. They're going around slower traffic as they get past the 51 of Jeremy Clements. And there you see the 77 also in this mix. That's third place, Robbie Gordon. Gordon gets hung up a little bit through that corner. Now, on the left side of your screen, this is the onboard camera from the 33 of Scott Speed. Now, left foot on the brake, right foot on the gas.
He's a two-foot driver, and he's using the accelerator to not only accelerate off the turn, but to help get the car to rotate. Watch him tap. That's matching his revs so he can downshift. Again. Now he's going back to the accelerating off the corner. Got an upshift. Got his left foot resting on the brake. These guys are running pretty hard right now, Rusty. I'm not sure I'd be running this hard this early, but Scott Speed might be auditioning. Listen, he doesn't have a full-time job like Jason Leffler does, so he's looking for some more work.
Well, it's pretty hard to tell a race car driver to slow down when they're really trying to, get up there and put a good show on, lead a lap, and run up front. Although, I think, in my opinion, that's what you got to do here. I mean, you got to save these brakes. And right now, they're not saving the brakes, but, hey, again, they're racers, man. It's hard to pull the rein on them and slow them down.
Robbie Gordon in the 77 going underneath the 13 of DJ Kennington. And, you mentioned Scott Speed looking for a ride. This is his first nationwide start since Homestead of 2009.
Yeah, I got to go back to Rusty's point. He says it's hard to pull back the reins on these drivers. So I went back 10 years ago when we raced together. I never saw him slow down. He burned the tires off him, and he ran like a rabbit. Okay, I get it.
I think it's Scott Speed. He did a lot of Formula One racing, a lot of F1 driving. He's very good on the road courses, and I think this was a good choice for Kevin Harvick to put him in his 33 car. He feels pretty comfortable on these style courses. And right away, he qualified well. He's running up front, looks real smooth, and you can tell that he's back at home in the road racing end of it.
Let's update you on a couple of other drivers. Remember, Jacques Villeneuve was behind Danica Patrick. He has since gotten around her. She is shown in 14th position. We're getting word that she might have had a little contact or some kind of incident. And we'll check on that as soon as we can. In fact, let's go back and show you. As you can see, there she is on the right side of your screen.
It's like Danica's just trying to make a pass on Michael Annett on the inside.
Yeah, Michael Annett didn't see that she was there and suffered for it, obviously. Spinning around. This is a blind turn, right-hander. She makes sort of a dive bomb in here, and Michael Annett didn't have the time to react and clipped her.
And while this is going on, Reed Sorensen is on pit road. Jim?
Marty, this was to be a fuel-only stop for Reed Sorensen, but he complained about having no rear grip. So they decided to put 4 tires on, fill it full of Sunoco racing fuel, and also make a major chassis adjustment for Reed Sorensen. Michael McDowell, by the way, in 1 lap ago, simply to top off.
And the battle for the race lead continues between Jason Leffler and Scott Speed. Speed keeps putting the pressure on.
Yeah, and you could see that car kick out in the back. Watch these cars as they enter and exit the turns. You can't ask them to do 2 things at once. You can't brake and turn at the same time. You can't accelerate and turn at the same time. You see Jason Leffler split off there and go to pit road. Scott Speed is going to lead this race.
So he'll be our 3rd different leader. Our 2nd lead change is now Leffler and Robbie Gordon have both committed to pit road. Right side of your screen is the race leader. Left side is Jason Leffler and Robbie Gordon. Let's check in again with Jim Noble.
All right, guys. as Jason Leffler, unlike a lot of people, they are not planning on doing this early pit strategy. Oh, yes, they are. Here he comes in. Before the race, they talked about simply running their race. But Jason's having a little trouble with grip, so they decided to go ahead, top off the fuel tank, and take 4 tires. They are around to the left side of that right now. Jason revs the engine, waiting for that tank to get fuel with Sunoco Racing Fuel, and Leffler is away.
15.7 seconds on the stop. As there you see the race leader, the 33 of Scott Speed. Second place right now is the 53 of Andrew Ranger. We can tell you, Ranger, good road course racer, one of that group of 20 we told you about at the beginning. And whoops, the 81 has turned it around. That's Marie-Eve Dufault in her first nationwide race. The former Price is Right model. She did it for about a month. She says, I model to make money so I can go race. She says, I'm a racer first, and she's trying to work her way up through the ranks. She's run the ARCA series. Best finish there was 10th.
Former Price is Right.
Yeah, yeah. Back when, and we're just getting word from NASCAR officials. The 32 of Reed Sorensen has missed a lug nut. He's going to have to do a pass-through penalty. There he is.
You see it's on the left front right there. He's getting that lug nut put back on the tire. And boy, I tell you, that is a tough break for him because he used a lot of track position right there.
And see, that's a terrible price to pay. Isn't that's roughly 48-second loss, having to come back down pit road.
Well, and the 19, Mike Bliss, was too fast exiting. There you see the race leader on the left side of your screen, the 33, and he's trying to get out in front of him. He does, but I don't know if he's going to be able to hold him off.
Well, you know the spotter's screaming at him. There's a leader to go, 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 go. And he's doing all he possibly can, but 33 of Scott Speed already had the momentum on him. Now with the fresher tires and the 32 car, Reed Sorensen be enough to catch him and get back in front of him.
Well, and what Speed has to worry about now, or not Speed, oh no, we got the 30 in. Let's go down the pit road, Rick.
Yeah, Morissette brings the car in. He was concerned at one point that he had a tire going down. It says he's going down the straightaway. The wheel is cocked very slightly. They're hoping that they can do it with tires, but they may have to do an adjustment to ultimately make it work. They're putting on 4 tires and fuel. Jim Noble?
It's a 4-tire stop for Ron Fellows. They're waiting to get that car full of Sunoco Racing Fuel. Remember, Ron Fellows scratched the wall yesterday in practice. They had to kind of massage the right side of that number 5 car. Thus far, not complaining about the handling as Ron Fellows heads down the end of pit road.
Well, see him coming into turn 10 right here. This is a great place to make a pass. But late in the race, coming into turn 10 there, we've seen a lot of guys wheel hop and run off course right there. And it's because later in the race, they start losing their brakes. They get hot. The efficiency is gone. The tires are slick. It really gets to be a big problem into turn 10.
It's about braking straight, and these things will slow down pretty good if you're straight and get all your braking done and then turn in. But if you try to drag the brake into the corner, Rusty, you're going to kill the tires.
Whoa, and another spin on the 81 of Marie-Eve Dufault. So twice she has been around. That is a bit of a precarious position. She turns back out as she is right now. Hope nobody comes around the corner. Look out, boy. This could get ugly.
Not a good idea.
Oh, man, look out.
No.
Oh, this. She just gets clipped.
That is a rookie mistake right there. You don't back across track. That was a tough one right there. And Trevor Bain did a great job missing her. But I do think he got just a little bit of damage, Marty, on the right side of Trevor's car.
It could have been a lot worse.
He didn't panic. That was a tremendous job by Trevor.
Full course caution, our first of the day. We'll go back and show you. And there is the damage on the 16.
Flat right front tire.
I saw when he came by, he got clipped just a little bit. Doesn't look like a lot of damage. You see her spinning back here into the grass.
She got a little bit of help.
No yellow at this point. And then this is where it gets really testy as she moves back across the track.
Yeah, she needed to turn the wheel all the way to right and spin around right here.
But that is one of the toughest spots, a blind corner right there, Ricky. I mean, she's sitting there. These drivers can't see her coming around that corner. Look at this. Boy. Let's watch Trevor. Whoa!
And finally, you see, and up here they use a blue flag for a corner-only situation, and then the yellow comes out when NASCAR says, okay, this is way too dangerous.
It's about as good as that could have ended, folks. That was a recipe for disaster.
Looked like Trevor nicked her, knocked her back over a little bit, and Brian Scott was able to follow through in the 11 car and not get any damage. But look at the right front of Trevor's car. A lot of smoke. He's just got to hope that it didn't damage the suspension on the right front corner where the toe out is still correct.
So all that track position he gained by stopping early, he's going to lose because he's going to have to come back in. And here's the other thing. The top 7 cars have not pitted. Pits are not open. The 6 is coming down with Ricky Stenhouse. Shannon?
Yeah, guys, 2 Roush Fenway teammates planning to come down pit road right now. Trevor Bayne and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stenhouse Jr. right about lap 10 started to tell his crew that his brake pedal felt a lot longer than it did last week, and his brakes have really started to not catch as much as they want to. And they're actually running a more conservative brake package here this weekend because of the fact that he hasn't made very many road course starts, and they wanted him to make it to the end of the race. Remember, in the points race, Ricky Stenhouse, so another championship contender taking an early hit.
Non-scheduled stop right here. This is a tough deal because anytime you pit under caution, when you come back out, you're going to be the back of the field, and this is not what he wanted. Take a look at Trevor Bayne, guys, coming down. The right front wheel looks pretty straight to me. He's got a flat tire, no doubt about it. He's going to have to beat out that fender, get some clearance, take some time, but I think he's going to be okay.
So as he comes in, we'll show you one more look at Trevor Bayne as he was trying to nurse it back. Oh, had to do some off-roading to get back on track after the incident.
He cut the right front tire because he clipped.
Let me correct one thing. Jacques Villeneuve in 4th place has pitted. He stayed out, but everybody else in the top 7 has not yet come to pit road.
Correct.
This week on baseball's biggest stage, Albert Pujols and the Cardinals look to stay in contention for a division title when they take on the Cubs. It's the Cardinals and Cubs on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. It's presented by Taco Bell at 8 Eastern. It's also available online at ESPN3.com. Under our first caution here at Montreal, Quebec, as the 81 of Marie-Ève Dufault got turned around, collected the 16 of Trevor Bayne. And the 6, our points leader coming in, Ricky Stenhouse, has had multiple trips to pit road. He is shown right now as the last car on the lead lap as he is hanging on to that position. And right now, the 2 of Elliott Sadler running in the 3rd position, but yet to make a pit stop is your new points leader.
I saw Ricky right before he strapped into the race car. I said, I know this isn't your strength. Would you take a 10th place finish right now if I were to give it to you? He says, absolutely.
I was wondering what you're going to say about that.
There's your Nationwide Series points, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, the way they shake out right now. Still a lot of time in this race. But, for example, Reed Sorensen, he was not in that lucky dog position. That's going to go to 39 of Luis Martinez. Sorensen was the 2nd car, 1 lap down, so he is still 1 lap behind the race leaders. Here comes the 33 of Scott Speed, Allgaier, Sadler joining as well. So Jacques Villeneuve, who came in earlier, is going to inherit the race lead, unless he decides to stop again.
Boy, do we have a mix of strategy here. This is confusing for me. I don't know about you guys, but it's going to get really interesting. We're going to get out of Rick. He's with a 2 team.
Yeah, he was saying, Elliott Sadler was saying a little bit earlier that he needed more rear grip. They were also talking about saving fuel. What a great job he was doing in saving fuel. The goal here to put in 4 tires, put in some Sunoco fuel, no major adjustments. They were very happy with the way he was saving fuel. Jim?
4 tires and a full load of racing fuel for Scott Speed. His only race for Kevin Harvick Incorporated this year. Big audition game for Speed. He knows a good performance here will go a long way in securing a job for next year. Shannon.
Well, there's Danica Patrick as she is making her first pit stop as well. And as we mentioned, that'll give Jacques Villeneuve the race lead as the rest of those cars that did not pit earlier, as we see the race off pit road. Elliott Sadler, in fact, we were talking with Elliott yesterday, and we were talking about the 20 road course specialists. He goes, I'm not in that list of 20, am I? And I said, not yet, but you're on the cusp.
Elliott,
he says, I'm trying.
You're 21st.
Yeah.
That helps, okay?
More repair work going on, the 16 of Trevor Bayne.
And Marty, it's fairly important on his road course, just like any other racetrack, to try to get the shape back in that right front fender for downforce so the car will stay turning good, stay stuck to the front end. You got to remember, down this long back straightaway, it's awful long. If you got a car that's tore up in the front end, you're going to lose a lot of speed. So they're doing a good job trying to fix everything now.
Rick, let's check in on Borisset's situation.
Yeah, this is not going well for for Boris Sedm. I talked about that problem. They thought they had something on the front end. They're not sure if it's ball joints, if it's a tie rod. They're not sure what it is. The plan was to go ahead and work on it as much as possible. Now, when talking with Boris Sedm before the race, he was saying he really was going to be treating this race like an endurance race. He felt the only way to do this was just to do everything you could to stay on the lead lap and be there at the end. So their goal is to do everything they can, get them back out, and hope that they can get them back out. They're working to make the wheels straight. They're doing work under the hood, but it's a very, very long stop.
Yeah, you see the team has the leading edge, straight edge running down both sides. They're going to try and align the front end as close as they can, but it's not like it's not like when they left the shop. They won't get it perfect.
Well, Ricky, what's tough about this, I don't see any damage on the body. I mean, I don't know where this toe end problem happened. I don't see the car tore up anywhere unless he hit one of the curbs so hard that it bent the lower ball joint or bent a tie rod or something like that. That definitely caused this problem.
So if we use this illustration with Trevor Bayne, look, he hit hard enough to get a flat tire. So did he hit hard enough to knock the front end out on that car?
Well, he very well could have. He's just going to have to hope that his steering wheel position is back where it was when he started the race. That's the good indication for the driver to know if it's right or not.
All right, the work is obviously going to continue on Boris Sed's car. And remember all those cars that stopped early? Look who's back in the lead. Villeneuve, Tagliani, Stephen Wallace up to third with Carpentier lurking in fourth, McDowell fifth. All right, back here under our first caution, it continues at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. A spin by the 81 of Marie-Ève Dufault. There is Trevor Bayne. He is back out on the track. And Ricky, you were talking about how this is a blind corner, and notice the corner worker, there is no blue flag, that means caution in that corner only. And look at these guys coming around.
Trevor locks the brakes up. Look at this. He gets off the brakes just to squeeze through. But that's frightening. That's a blind turn. He wasn't expecting that. NASCAR requires you to have one spotter. And they made it clear to me. After that, Ricky, they're on their own. You could have as many as 4 or 5. Apparently, he doesn't have enough.
Well,
Trevor does not have enough.
Let's listen on the radio, hear what he had to say.
Man, I almost died. I got something on the right front torn off, but it's no wonder I didn't die this time. But that was the scariest moment of my life.
So I think that goes back to the number of spotters. He was saying, where were you guys?
Yeah, one thing we didn't hear right there. He said, where were you guys at? He was complaining about his spotter not calling him out, that there was a problem right there. We were talking off camera. I said, look, and Ricky and I were talking, Marty, that look, there's so many corners here. You can't cover every single corner. And obviously, in that particular corner, there was no spotter. He was completely surprised by what happened there.
I'll bet you there's a spotter on his way now.
Yeah.
What do you bet?
You can see where he started, where he is currently. Let's also reset it for you, because the way this shakes out with Jacques Villeneuve taking over the race lead, there are 5 cars that were able to take advantage of the wave around, including Reed Sorensen, Timmy Hill, Mike Bliss, Derek Koch, Jeremy Clements, the others. We told you Luis Martinez got the lucky dog, so that gives us a total now of 35 cars on the lead lap. Only 2 are out of this race, Morgan Shepherd and Jeff Green.
Marty, I will tell you guys, this fuel strategy thing is really getting confusing right now. There's probably at least 10 to 12 different fuel strategies happening right now. We've seen guys pit on lap 4. We've seen them pit on lap 16, 12, 11, all over the place, and nobody really agrees on when the right time to pit is at this track.
As you look on board with Danica Patrick, our leader, Jacques Villeneuve, pitted on lap 7. Tagliani on lap 3. Stephen Wallace on 4. Carpentier in 4th place, lap 6. Michael McDowell on lap 10.
Keep in mind, they have track position, but the guys behind them have new tires. So it's a trade-off.
Well, we're going to find out what happens as we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. As we've knocked down officially now, as we cross start finish again, it will be lap number 19 that will be starting. Jacques Villeneuve takes the right side again. And we're racing at Montreal.
He didn't get the jump that he got at the start of the race. I'm not sure he's going to be able to clear him. Off of turn 2. Oh, boy. Tagliani really slipped there.
That's such a tough corner right there, guys. Coming into turn 1 and 2 right there. They are 4 wide. They all kept it on the track somehow.
Tagliani not only lost 2nd place, he's going to lose 3rd place. So move Stephen Wallace up to 2nd. Michael McDowell to 3rd. There's Tags in 4th. On board with Patrick Carpentier. He's 5th.
Steve getting a little bit more aggressive right now. Steven's trying to get past Jacques Villeneuve right here. This is a tough part of the track to pass on.
That is a power move, Rusty, but you know, he wasn't able to complete the pass, so he rolled back out of it.
A lot of times when you get pressure from the backside, you got to drive hard. and they need to get another lap under their belt. Let these guys separate a little bit, because this, in my opinion, is too early to start torturing these brakes this early.
Yeah, everything you take out of these tires right now, you're going to wish you had back in about 20 laps, maybe 15 laps. These cars don't brake as well as the tires start to wear.
There's a good zone right here for braking. You see Marcus Ambrose.
Yeah. Good job, Rusty. You picked that up because he comes right underneath Patrick Carpentier. And remember, Ambrose, one of those three that had to start in the back of the field. He has now moved up to the 6th position. He pitted on lap number 5.
And it's just another way of qualifying him as an expert. He had 0 laps until he strapped into this car before the start of the race.
Well, he has unfinished business at this track. He feels he should have won it twice, especially the year that Carl Edwards got him right in the last 2 corners right there. When he went over that last curve, pitched it towards the wall, Carl ducked underneath him.
You saw Patrick Carpentier hit that curve and really threw him into Scott. He lost several positions just then. And it's really hard on the suspension when you hit those things that hard, guys.
Carpentier drops all the way back to 9th.
Whoa, Rob Gordon really working out the bumper of Jason Leffler right there. You see Ron Fellows in the 5 car right on his bumper also.
And then there's Carpentier behind them.
Starting to see the drivers get a little more aggressive, almost like there's an urgency. And I think it's also the disparity between old tires and new tires, Rusty. And cars drive awfully good on those new tires.
Well, this is a new tire. It's a softer tire, Marty. And a lot of guys were telling you they don't like it.
Well, they felt like it wasn't as much grip as they had in the tire last year. And, of course, we talked to NASCAR officials, and Director Joe Ballard said, hey, remember one thing. This is the first time this car has run at this track, so I don't know if we could have matched up the tire combination perfectly.
Fair point. Boy, it's getting busy right here. Watch Marcus Ambrose. He's sizing up Stephen Wallace. Shannon, what do you have for us on the number 9?
Well, since we're talking all pretty much the entire race about fuel mileage strategy, I did want to give you a report from Marcos Ambrose's team. He says that right now they're getting low gas mileage compared to some of the other guys in the field, and Marcus has been running about 90%, so he told his team, let me know if I need to start saving you guys fuel even as early as right now. And I spoke with his crew chief, and we have some trouble on the track. I think my monitor's a little frozen, guys. Sorry about that.
23 went around.
Back to you guys.
Yeah, Alex Kennedy took it around. We'll pick it up for you, Shannon, and let you finish that point a little bit later. Now, he is off the track right now, and I think they're just going to be, yes, they're just yellow in that corner, or I should say the blue flag. And there the race continues, and he'll be able to get started, and we will not have to go full course caution.
He's out of harm's way if he can get it fired up again.
I'll tell you what, when Jacques gets out in the clean air, listen to the crowd down to turn 1, 2.
It is amazing. You know, it reminds me of a Formula 1 race in different parts of the country where the fans really go crazy for their favorite driver that's from that area. And right here in Canada, they are really going crazy for these two. We just don't see that in the States, you know?
Hey, listen, we've been treated. This has been an outstanding experience, has it not? And it's been a wonderful weekend weather-wise. And we're seeing a great race.
Only got lost 2 or 3 times getting back to the hotel. Other than that, Ricky, you're right.
Well, that was because you're co-pilot.
Yeah, that's true. That's me. No, I'm the co-pilot. Right? I was messing up quite a bit.
Actually, I thought Rusty's French was par excellence. All right,
back to the race.
On board with Stephen Wallace as it looks like he's under attack from the 12 of Alex Tagliani, and Tags looks like he's going to take the spot away from him.
Yeah, take it nice and easy here. Just
some move Tags up to 4th, Stephen back to 5th. He's got Robbie Gordon all over him as well.
Tell you what, it looks a lot scarier from the booth than it is in the car, probably, Ricky, because, I mean, these guys look like it's the last lap of the race, and they're only on lap 21 right now.
Yeah, you watch him hit these aprons, and Robbie Gordon looking to the inside of Stephen Wallace, not able to complete the pass, but these drivers are so aggressive with the curbings and hitting these aprons, and it's got to take its toll on the front end, the alignment on these cars.
You know, that's a good point. It's got to. I mean, they're hitting so hard. I mean, if I was their spotters and their crew chiefs, I'd be saying, guys, be kinder to the car, man. We're only 21 laps in this 74-lap race. Don't tear these things up, but I don't think they listen too good.
Especially right here in this set of turns. This is the worst. Watch these cars.
Bang, bang, bang. And the one thing I'd like to point out here, guys, remember we talked about the 20 really good road course racers? Our top 10, let's tip the hat to Steven because he's running 5th. Jason Leffler running 7th. They're nationwide regulars. They're not known for road course specialists. They're in the mix with 8 other guys that are.
And Marty, their objective is obviously different, right? They're looking big picture, points, as opposed to guys that are coming in for one weekend, and it's all about the trophy.
Well, Robbie Gordon is about the trophy. He would love to make up for what he lost here years ago. He still feels he should have won that race. Unfinished business for him as well. There's your top 5 as we're working lap 22 at Montreal. Welcome back to the Napa Auto Parts 200, and make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. As you can see, we are working lap 23 of 74, and Jacques Villeneuve is out in front at the track named for his father. Second place is Marcus Ambrose, who started in the back of the field. Michael McDowell is third. Alex Tagliani, who started on the outside of the front row, is fourth. Robbie Gordon fifth. Stephen Wallace sixth. Jason Leffler seventh. Ron Fellows 8th, Patrick Carpentier 9th, and J.R. Fitzpatrick has moved into the top 10. And guys, we were talking about it earlier, and here they are together for the first time in a long time. The 66, Stephen Wallace, the 38 of Jason Leffler, and if we flash back to New Hampshire, there may be some unfinished business.
Yeah, I tell you what, these two don't have any love for each other back then. I think they do now. They've always been friends for a long time. They had that issue there. See Jason trying to make this pass right here on Stephen. Looks like he's going to fall back in line. But they had that issue at New Hampshire, no doubt about that. Let's hope that's over right now. But Andrew Ranger. Wow. The winner.
Looks like an engine problem, Marty.
Today's Canadian Tires. And remember, they had engine problems. They changed before the second practice yesterday. And you can see on the map to the right of the screen as a tough break. This kid won the Canadian Tire race that was held earlier today.
Yeah, it just blows up right there. And lost an engine. He lost an engine when we first got here, guys. We walked in. Both of us did, and we're talking to Andrew. So what happened? It blew an engine. It looks like a second engine has failed on this Dodge right now. Real disappointment. Now, is this a part of the racetrack where you can pull off and not have a caution flag come up? We talked to Joe Bowers about that, didn't we?
It's one of those areas where he is safely out of the way, so we will stay green. In his 5 prior road course races, his best finish was 3rd.
Yeah, you can't really measure how important this event is to the Canadian drivers. You know, they circle the calendar. They say, this is the one weekend I want to shine. So he's an outstanding road racer. Disappointed for him.
Well, this is their Daytona 500, Ricky. That's for sure.
That's exactly right.
And show the same for Robbie Gordon, Alex Tagliani right here. Guys like that, they know they're really good road racers, and they want to shine in front of this huge crowd, which is estimated over 70,000 people, we've heard.
The Ranger finished 3rd a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Which was very impressive.
That was his best. And here comes Danica Patrick in. Rick?
Yeah, this is all about fuel strategy. Basically what happened, they just hit their fuel window. They're going to go ahead, put fuel in, no tires. They did work on the left front, trying to pull that fender out just a little bit after a little bit of contact. But this was all about fuel strategy.
All right, Rick, so she gets back out on track. And we'll check out when she cycles through. We'll let you know exactly where she is as far as the running order.
Rusty, where's that calculator? Every time somebody pits, Rusty pulls that calculator out, and then he asks me to confirm the numbers.
Well, you know what? The batters are dead on it. They're dead because there's so many strategies. Rick, we just got to see how this thing plays out. Shannon, what's going on with the 77 down there?
Robbie Gordon very happy with the race car, guys. And this is one driver, he has been completely open about the fact that he truly believes that this track owes him something. He's been in contention to win several times here. His crew chief told me that one thing that makes Robbie so good at this racetrack is his endurance. He knows how to race long races. And while this is only 200 miles, it is tough on your equipment, and Robbie is great at being able to save it to the end.
There's no disputing. Robbie is one of the best road racers and has had a lot of success. I think the one downfall to Robbie is that there are times when he's inside the race car, he tries to play crew chief and he tries to play strategy, and you know, you can't do both. But left to drive in the race car, I put him up against anybody.
In his early off-road days, I have a story that he took Russ Wernemann, his crew chief truck builder. That was his co-driver. Took him through a wash area, and they said, "Oh no, we can't do it. We didn't pre-run this." And he comes across this wash, slams the throttle. They barely make it across. The story goes, Russ got out of the truck and never got back in it again.
Well, Robbie Gordon, he's not scared of anything. There's no doubt about it. Hey, look at Trevor Bain coming out pit road right now, guys. Is this scheduled?
And let's find out from Shannon Spake.
Well, according to the radio, Trevor Bain saying that he has a left rear tire going down. So this has just been a bad day for Trevor Bain. Coming down, they're going to take 4 tires on the 16 car.
Okay, so as the troubles continue for Trevor Bayne, some of them not of his own making, as we'll keep an eye on how far this will set him back in the field. He came in, he was 47 seconds behind the race leaders. You can see there at the far end of the racetrack right there with Villeneuve, Ambrose, and McDowell. And there you see Robbie Gordon with the number 12 of Alex Tagliani close behind.
Yeah, this isn't looking good for Trevor Bayne. He was up there a long time working on that car, 27 seconds. That's not a normal pit stop. That's for sure.
Looks like he might be able to stay out on the lead lap, and yes, he will. And we have, there comes our race leader through turns 13 and 14.
Boy, is he lighting them up. He's around a minute 43 seconds compared to, he's a second faster than the second place car, Jacques Villeneuve.
Well, let's go back and show you exactly what happened to the 16 that caused this pit stop. Top of your picture. Whoa.
Oh, yeah. Just got in the corner too hot and lost it, guys. Just overdrove the corner.
Well, the irony is that it's the same corner, isn't it, that he had trouble with?
Yeah, but the last time there was a car sitting there. This time it was all on his own.
Yeah, the corner kind of getting your head at this point.
So you see the damage on the quarter panel. And here comes the 2. And Rick DeBrule's got it.
Elliott Sadler brings the car in. They're very happy. There are no concerns about the car. Once again, this is a fuel stop only. No tires. Almost stalls it on the way back out. They're pushing. He's back in and going.
Right side of your screen, Trevor Bayne continues. Left side of your screen, here comes one of the championship contenders, Elliott Sadler, out back on the racetrack.
Those crew members can only push to the end of their pit stop. Is that correct?
I think it was 2 boxes you're allowed to go as far as the push, but no further. We'll double check that to make sure. But there is your top 5 as we're working lap 27 of 74, and your race leader, the hometown favorite, Jacques Villeneuve.
Welcome back to Montreal. Green flag pit stops underway. Alex Tagliani pulled the 12 car in. They are going to make a 4-tire change and fuel. Alex Tagliani started on the front row here today, guys.
So 25 laps before he made his second pit stop. You can see the 33 of Scott Speed right behind him there in your screen as they come back out onto the racetrack. So Speed also making his second stop.
Guys aren't pushing their luck too much here. 20, somewhere 23 to 25 laps max are looking at fuel. A lot of different strategies like we talked about earlier going on.
How about Robbie Gordon here? A battle for position with the 18 of Michael McDowell. That is for 3rd on the racetrack. Robbie wants it, and it looks like, yeah, he's got it.
Yeah, he's giving them the peace sign out the driver's side window, and it's basically just a courteous. Look, you know, you didn't race me off the exit. Thank you. I'll give it back to you later if you're faster than I am.
Tell you what, this Robbie's doing a great job. I mean, he is an incredible road racer, but he's had so much bad luck of late, last 2 or 3 years. See, Marcus Ambrose coming in, left the screen pit now, but back to Robbie. This is one of the best runs I've seen him have, guys.
Yeah, and Michael McDowell. You got to remember that, you know, Michael McDowell dominated Road America and had a self-imposed mistake. Got to come here feeling like he's got to get one back to the team.
Ambrose last pitted on lap 5. Here he is in lap number 29, and he's not happy with the car, Shannon.
That's right. We told you earlier how the first laps in this car were when he jumped in and took the green flag. They have been working on the handling pretty much since the start of the race. They made a track bar adjustment on their first pit stop. They're going to continue to work that track bar here on this pit stop as well. It is a scheduled 4-tire stop. It may take a little bit longer than normal, guys, because of course they will be waiting for fuel.
This is one of the Roush Fenway cars that's fielded out of Richard Petty's shop. They put a lot of focus on this car for this particular event because they know how good it is. Jim.
All right, Steve Wallace and Justin Allgaier have both hit pit road. There you see Steve Wallace on the left, having a little hard time on the left-hand turns. Car's a little loose. They'll take 4 tires, chassis adjustment, air pressure adjustment, and Steve Wallace is away.
35 miles an hour pit road speed. Right side of your screen, we continue on that battle for second between Robbie Gordon and Michael McDowell. They're chasing that man on the left side of your screen. Jacques Villeneuve, he leads by that margin.
Marty, I talked with Jacques Villeneuve earlier. I said, you know, I raced against your uncle, and I've never seen anybody drive deeper in the corner. Well, nobody other than you. This guy is unbelievable in the braking zones, and he's running laps right now still over a second faster than the second, third, and fourth place cars. He won't back off. You see him hit the curbs there. He is so aggressive.
And that's what I want to ask you guys. Is he using this car up too much? He's got the best car out there right now. Does he need to hammer it that hard?
Well, in my opinion, I think he is overdriving just a little bit much, but you're not going to slow this guy down in front of this Canadian crowd. Like I said, this is his Daytona 500. He's going for it. This guy's going to hit it on.
And he's probably caught up in that hometown feel, isn't he, Rusty?
I think he is. He's caught up. It's like me when I go to Bristol, where I've won a lot at. I mean, I feel so jazzed up when I get there. Jim.
Guys, Michael McDowell is going to come down, and he has been very, very conservative thus far. He told me Friday, I want to save this car for the last 5 laps of the race. He has done that. It's going to be a 4-tire stop, and they will fill it full of Sunoco racing fuel. But Michael McDowell and Jason Ratcliffe got together and said, we are not going to push this until about 10 to 15 laps to go. We want to be the best in the last 5.
And bad news for the 66. Stephen Wallace too fast exiting. He'll have to do the pass-through as Jacques Villeneuve continues to motor around this 2.7-mile layout. He won the Atlantic race here back in 1993. That got him his ride into Champ Car, back then known as CART. He was Rookie of the Year in 94. Of course, won the Indianapolis 500 and the championship in 95. And then moved on to a 10-year career in Formula One, and it was there that he had his last pole position. I mean, it's been 10 years since he had a pole until today.
He's had a great career. You know, I grew up not far from here as a fan of his dad, Gilles Villeneuve. Fact of the matter is, you know, I'm a fan of anybody that races snowmobiles.
Oh, Gilles, and he's coming in now. So Jacques, who made his first stop on lap number 7, is now coming in here on lap number 31.
Strategies all across the board. You know, there's very few similarities. You know, it's almost like everybody's got a little different theme to this as we watch Robbie Gordon now, the new leader.
He will become our 4th different leader with 4 lead changes. Let's check in with Sanders.
Well, as Jock makes his way down pit road, they're telling him, wait on fuel. We will give you the cue to go. You guys mentioned how hard he is on equipment. Todd Gordon told me his #1 goal as a crew chief today was to try to keep his driver calm inside that race car. It's going to be 4 tires. The car is very good. They're very happy. No changes for the 22.
And this car last year with Brad Keselowski at the wheel finished 4th in this race. And of course, last week, Kurt Busch took it to victory at Watkins Glen.
You know, we talked about braking and being concerned about can the brakes survive on the 22 car. Trust me, Todd Gordon's got the same concern. And they've done some great things to prepare this car. But whatever you're taking now, you got to worry about it catching up with you toward the end, Rusty. Last 10, 15 laps.
Hey, one thing I need to worry about, they got to get those pit stops a little bit better. 19.2 seconds. That was pretty slow for those Penske guys. Those guys are generally rocket fast.
He was leading by 7 seconds. So
yeah,
he's
so
all right.
He's so fast right now that he can afford to mess up a little bit, can't he?
Alex Kennedy trying to do all he can to stay on the lead lap right now. Kennedy is 34th. The last car, as we mentioned, has only 2 cars out of the race. Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Green, and Andrew Ranger is off and for all intents and purposes out, so his car's still in that runoff area, well out of harm's way. Looks like Robbie's going to get around the 23 safely here as they head into turns 13 and 14.
Yeah, I just can't get over how much these cars get in the air and they slam back down, and we know that they coil bind these front springs. We know they have a splitter that's a little bit delicate. Gosh, it's really abusive. This track is as hard on the car as any that we go to.
Robbie Gordon's best road course finish in the Nationwide Series has been 2nd twice. He's not yet won. A 5-car, Ron Fellows, a former winner here, is in. Jim?
That's right. Ron Fellows decided to come down. They have been pretty happy with the race car. He's not complaining much about this. Ron Fellows is going to take 4 tires and full of Sunoco racing fuel. This will get them where they want to be. This was their first big stop of this race in terms of their fuel mileage strategy. As you see, the 2nd can of racing fuel is going in, and Ron Fellows should be good to go, still on schedule.
Yeah, he pitted on lap 13 and now again here on lap number 32. There is your race leader, Robbie Gordon. Behind is Jason Leffler by 9 seconds, however, with J.R. Fitzpatrick listed in 3rd here at Montreal.
And you can even pick your payment date for the loan.
You do.
Gas short.
ESPN's coverage of the NFL preseason continues Monday night. Jake Cutler and the Bears take on Eli Manning and the Giants. It's Monday Night Football. Preseason action on ESPN. Monday at 8 Eastern, and the coverage begins 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown. Back here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, race leader Robbie Gordon has 11-second margin over Jason Leffler. Now, got to remember, everybody's on different pit strategies, but Gordon and Leffler both pitted on lap number 12. And Gordon's opened up a 11-second lead. In fact, let's go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and pick it up with second place. Yeah, how about it, Jim?
Well, Jason Leffler has been running pretty good. In fact, he really needs a good run, Marty, because he is trying to get back on track. Only one top 10 in 4 starts here. Now, a big issue for Jason Leffler was taking care of his brakes. They talked about it all day Friday, did he and crew chief Eddie Perdue. But there's been a problem. Take a listen.
The brakes are gone. Therefore, take care of them, bud. Take care of them.
That seems to be the issue with a lot of these teams here. You can say you're going to take care of your brakes, but taking care of them in the heat of battle is a whole nother deal. Shannon?
Well, speaking of brakes, Jim, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. since lap 10 has been having an issue with his. You saw him on pit road. They went underneath the car. They made sure everything was tight and there was no leaks. They didn't find anything, but he has been struggling, just trying to stay on the course right now. It's all about the championship, the end of the season, because they came into this race as your points leader and just trying to escape with a good finish here today. Jim?
With only 2 top 10s in his last 6 races, Justin Allgaier really needs a good run. Also, he comes into this race 5th in points, 80 back. Now, he says he's not good at fuel mileage races, but remember, he did win a fuel mileage race essentially in Chicago earlier this year. Of course, he did run out of fuel at Road America. Justin Allgaier right now is trying to keep his car underneath him and save fuel. Rick?
Danica, Patrick, it's all about fuel strategy. They knew going in the door that they were going to have to do their best to try to manage the fuel. They pitted, so I think they're in a situation now where they think they may be able to go the rest of the way in one stop. It's all been about coaching so far. They've been talking to her on the radio, making sure that she knows where her lap times are and that her lap times are just fine. So it's all about coaching her through this. Remember, this is her first nationwide race on a road course. Jim?
Jason Leffler has come in. We told you about his brake issue. Not a whole lot they can do about that right now, but they will pack that car full of fuel, send him on his way back on pit schedule. Shannon.
Robbie Gordon, guys, just over the radio saying that he is out of fuel, but he was able to get it started. As you see him on the racetrack right now, just maintaining, coming down pit road for a pit stop. Guys, he's been out there for a while. His last pit stop was right around lap 12. So as you see, Robbie Gordon's going to have to come down for fuel.
In fact, Gordon has slowed markedly. In fact, he stayed out 1 lap too long, guys. He is shown right now in 12th position.
Yeah, I just don't understand that, you know, that you just can't have those types of mistakes, particularly on a road course.
So he pitted on lap 12, then is pitted here on lap number 35, but he surrendered quite a bit of track position. Right now it means Jacques Villeneuve has gone back into the race lead with Marcus Ambrose 8.6 seconds behind.
Yeah, and he's so good on road courses that when you get to the lead, you can just discipline yourself, remind yourself, don't spin the tires on the exit, don't drag the left front or right front as I'm braking into the corners, don't miss a shift, be smooth on the shifter. It's easy to take care of your car here, and Todd Gordon's got to hope that he is as he drives to the outside, braking into turn 1.
And the problem with that, Ricky, is they can't remember all that stuff. I agree with you. Everything you said is right on, but these guys get all wound up in those cars. They forget half that stuff.
It gets confusing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
So there's your top 5 here at Montreal as we are halfway in the 74-lap event. They're getting around his teammate, Justin Allgaier. That is for 9th position on the racetrack. Everybody right now is chasing Jacques Villeneuve, the hometown favorite. He has a 5.4-second lead over Marcus Ambrose. 3rd place is Michael McDowell. 4th place, Alex Tagliani. 5th place is the 97 of Kyle Kelly. Now, we mentioned Robbie Gordon. Right now, he's running in 11th position. We talked about the fact he stayed out 1 lap too long before he pitted. Here's what happened.
fuel mileage absolutely sucks on these motors. 10-4, man. We're P11. We're all right here. Let's keep it up. Good job. Yeah, we're all right, but it's out of 10 seconds. You can't give up 10 seconds in racing.
Well, and the problem sometimes is self-induced. You said yourself earlier in the race, he has a tendency to want to play crew chief while he's in the car.
Well, Robbie's such a talent on road courses, but sometimes he just thinks too much. But I got to tell you, he sounds like a typical race car driver. Fuel mileage sucks with these engines. Okay, if that's not the problem, then the driver comes back and says, I need more horsepower. You can't have both.
Well, let's go back and show you what happened on the pit stop, because the 10 seconds extra he's talking about that they lost on pit road, we can show you.
Yeah, right now he's coming down pit road. He ran out of gas coming down pit road. Seen him going over to the front of the car here after they put this tire on. Watch this. He grabs the fuel, puts it down the inlet there, trying to get fuel to the carburetor. Trying to get fuel to the carburetor. It's fueling right now. The car still won't fire. Trying to get it running. Making a normal pit stop here. This thing is taking forever. This pit stop's almost 10 to 15 seconds too long right now, guys.
And you see the tape right where the jack is. That's where the left front tire is supposed to be, okay? So Robbie went deep in his stall. Why did that happen? Because he's preoccupied with running out of fuel. It just causes confusion.
And he is now 27 seconds behind the race lead.
Because of one misjudgment.
And that causes a driver to really overdrive and get frustrated. They got to calm him down because he's a good driver. He can still win this race, guys. We're only about halfway through, a little past halfway through right now.
Let's check in on Scott's speed in the 33 and the 5 of Ron Fellows. They are running 5th and 6th on the race course. They are about 17 seconds behind the race leader.
And this 5 car, Ron Fellows, Mr. Smooth, I call him. Every time I see him on a road course, not making mistakes, keeping it on course, smooth shifts, does everything right. You know, this guy has just won everything in the country. Done a lot of things, and now he's even a track owner, I hear, Marty. Yeah, owns part of Mosport, is that correct?
Yeah, he's part owner in Mosport up here in Canada. In fact, speculation is that if this race were to leave, that the folks at Mosport would like to get it, and Ron has said, no, we'd like to add a second race in Canada. He wants to keep this race here in Montreal, as do every driver we talk to.
Yeah, it sounds like he's got a lot of money. Every car owner or every car driver that has a racetrack that I know of has a lot of money. Don't you have a driver?
I was wondering where you're going with that. I mean, that's a good way to get yourself in problems, too. But there's some real good ones, and there's some ones not so fortunate, that's for sure.
Let's check in on what's going on. As we got action there with the 39 of Luis Martinez and the 7 of Danica Patrick. Danica gets around him. She is shown right now in the 11th position, but remember, she has a stop still to come. A lot of different fuel strategies, and we'll keep you up on that. And there's Carl Edwards. Haven't talked much about Carl today because he's been working his way up through the field as well.
Yeah, he's been getting through these. Right now he's in the 12th position, running respectable lap times. Not the fastest lap time. That last time by a 105.03. And there's been a lot of 103.30s. Alex Tagliano just knocked out the fastest lap so far that time. Him and Villeneuve have really been flying throughout this race.
Well, you look at Carl Edwards right there. His last pitted on lap 27. Jim, what are you hearing?
Well, actually, Marty, that was a very interesting pit stop on lap 27. The gas man actually dropped the gas can right onto the deck when Carl Edwards came in. They got it back in. Cost him about 4 or 5 seconds, but that's about been the busiest, well, if you don't count his plane flight, probably the craziest part of his day so far. Rick?
Talking about Danica Patrick, we've all talked a lot about the brakes today and the fact that the brakes are getting hot. A little while ago, she came on the radio and said she's getting hot. And they were saying, we've got something for you on the next pit stop. Remember, their goal is one more pit stop for the rest of the race, and then they can go the distance. They were fuel strategy all the way, and the fact that she's running right now in 11th place is a very good run for Danica today.
Caution in that one corner, and now a full course caution here as you finish up, Rick. The 52.
Yellow flag is out.
Louis-Philippe Dumoulin is stopped on the side of the road, now trying to get it refired. So here we are under our second caution.
Yeah, Rusty and I were going to let you pronounce his name.
Dumoulin. His brother did not
job.
make the field. My high school French teenager still has conniptions every time I try and speak French. But let's set it for you, because Villeneuve is going to lose his 5.5-second lead. And we were just getting ready to finish. We finished up on Danica Patrick. She pitted on lap number 24. Here we are working lap number 41. And so I don't think you want to come in under this yellow. You're going to have to stay out a little longer.
It's going to give us an opportunity to kind of establish a cycle, because with so many mixed strategies, we didn't know who was on cycle, off cycle. Now, how many of these guys are going to hit pit road?
Well, it's going to be a mixed strategy, Ricky. There's no doubt about that. But one thing I'm looking at right now, well, I know I'm beating this thing about the brakes to death, but right now these brakes are pretty weak in these cars. It's going to bunch everybody back up. They're going to fly into turn 1. They're going to fly down to turn 10. They're not going to be able to stop. I wouldn't be surprised if we tear some cars up on this upcoming restart.
Pits are closed, so we're going to step aside for a quick commercial break under our second caution as we've completed 40 of the 74 laps. So nobody can go the distance if they decide to stop now. Our second caution continues here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, as there is his son Jacques leading this field. In fact, Jacques has led a total of the 26 of the 41 laps we've completed. We've had a total of 4 leaders, 5 lead changes. The other leaders have been Robbie Gordon, Scott Speed, Jason Leffler, each of them leading a total of 5 laps. We have a total of 29 cars on the lead lap, and will it be Joe Nemechek getting the lucky dog? I think it will be. And off to the distance, it's getting cloudy, and there is a report of a potential rainstorm, and it looks pretty bad on our radar, and it's about 40 miles away. So this race is official. So now it's a matter of, could we be racing up against the rain again? I know, this was a perfect day.
Are you kidding me? I mean, I can't believe this. It was so clear, nothing on the radar. Major storm develops. We might get clobbered again.
But wait a minute. We've got rain tires.
But we're halfway. We're halfway through, so this race will be official. I don't think they'll restart it on rain tires.
Well, that takes all the fun out of it.
Well, it's just me speculating, okay? But I don't think they will.
We can confirm now it is going to be Joe Nemechek that gets the lucky dog. We only have 4 cars that are out of this race: Kennington, Ranger, Shepard, and Jeff Green. And as again, the lights are still on the pace car here at Montreal.
Marty, you mentioned the weather. I'm sorry, Rusty. You mentioned the weather, and the combination of this caution and our third restart, double file, the idea of weather coming in, you see some cars hitting pit road, Michael McDowell, along with Scott Speed. That changes the mentality of drivers. Again, the urgency comes into play.
Man, you took the words out of my mouth, because as a driver right now, you're thinking urgency, rain's coming. The crew chief's yelling, get all you can, drive your brains out.
This will be an interesting restart.
Well, McDowell last pitted on lap number 30. Here he is coming in on lap number 42. Let's send it to Jim.
All right, as you said, here comes Michael McDowell, who's having trouble turning right. He wants to be freed up. They'll take 4 tires, fuel, wedge adjustment for Michael McDowell. Also coming in, Scott Speed, Carl Edwards, Ron Bell, all kind of very, very busy down here on this section of pit road. Scott Speed wants to have him loosened up just a little bit. Very tight getting off pit road there, as you see, for Scott Speed. Behind him, Carl Edwards is having issues turning right. They made a slight air pressure adjustment and dropped the track bar on the 60 car.
There's a joke in there somewhere about a NASCAR driver having troubles turning right.
The fact is that if the drivers are struggling with those right-hand turns, the crew chiefs will be more aggressive with the adjustments, because the majority of the turns on this course are right-handers. If they were struggling with the left-handers, they'd compromise, say, well, maybe a little bit of air adjustment. But these will be pretty big adjustments.
Well, we have 32 laps to go. By our calculations, nobody that's pitted right here can make it. So let's check down on the 16. Shannon?
Well, what a day for Trevor Bayne, you guys. He had the radio issues before we even went green flag racing. Missed a huge wreck on the racetrack. He then got a flat, hit the wall. Because of that left rear damage, you see them working actually on the left side of the car. He moved the area where the fuel tank goes into the car. He bent it up so they actually cannot get the fuel can into the car. Right now they're trying to bang it out so they're able to fuel that car. Obviously, that's pretty important here in Montreal.
Yeah, they worked on that left rear on that, and then they earlier damage with the contact with Marie-Ève Dufault on the right front. They're putting more Barabond on that. As we continue this caution, we're going to step aside once again. You're looking at the race leader, Jacques Villeneuve. He finished 3rd at Road America in that car. Does he pick up his first win here in the Nationwide Series?
The team
Well, let's get caught up on our 5-hour Energy Rapid recap. Of course, the local hero Jacques Villeneuve picks up his first pole in 10 years, and that was delighting the hometown fans here in Montreal. And then early pit issues for a number of championship contenders. Reed Sorensen, right now he is shown in 28th position. And the 30 also of Boris said, as he also has had his problems on pit road. And then Trevor Bayne's troubles, the first one was none of his doing. That's Marie-Eve Dufault, and he clips his right front against her right rear.
Man, one of the scariest times of the race right there, Marty. That was a scary, scary deal with her parked in the middle of the track.
And then this one, he just came too hot through the corner and ended up cutting the tire.
In the same corner that he had that issue with that car spun.
And right now, Trevor Bayne is 19th, and we can tell you Sorensen 28th. And let's get into more with there is Danica Patrick, right now shown in the top 10 for the first time today. Rick?
Yeah, indeed, she's running 9th position right now, and I have to tell you, I told you a little bit earlier that everybody's talked about the brakes, and that Danica was complaining that it was just a little warm out there. During that last yellow, she was calling in, talking to her crew chief, Tony Uri Jr. You can hear what she said about trying to cool off.
I need a scoop in this car so that I can actually get to the air out there and at least cup it a little bit.
Riding around with your visor up, with your hand out the window a little bit?
Oh yeah, but my hand doesn't get very far.
Yeah, not the tallest driver out there, not the longest arm, but the advantage now, there is some cloud cover coming over, which is going to cool things down. The question is whether it's going to bring any rain along with it.
Danica stands 5'2", 106 pounds, and if she reaches out the window while we're on board here, you'll get an idea. She can barely get it out the window.
You know, Marty, it leads me to wonder if her cool air box, the cool air box, has failed, because if you lift the visor, then you're going to lose all that benefit.
Good point. Let's reset it for you. You got Jacques Villeneuve as he has taken driver's right again. He is your race leader. Marcus Ambrose alongside. Remember, he started in the rear of this field. Alex Tagliani, and then Ron Fellows will be 4th. Lucky Dog went to Joe Nemechek. We have 28 cars on the lead lap. No one took a wave around this time as the race leaders stayed out. We only have 4 cars out of the race. Kennington Ranger Shepherd Jeff Green. And remember, twice in the history of this event, we have run in the rain, and there are the rain tires getting ready. They are saying 40 to 45 minutes away. Now, if we can stay lean, mean, and green, 31 laps to go, we might be able to sneak this in.
Boy, I mean, we got a tug of war going here between the weather and the amount of time we have left to run these laps. So, rain tires, an option or not?
I don't think it's going to be an option. I really don't. I'm a positive thinker. Glass is always half full for me, man. I think they're going to get this race in. It's going to be tough, though.
Pace car pulls onto pit road. Here they come through turn 13 and then 14.
4 of the top 5 drivers right now are Canadian drivers.
As they come down, here's your race leader, Jacques Villeneuve, as they will get the green flag. Slow, 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 and all of a sudden, there goes the green flag into the air. So they really held up, almost had a log jam in the back there.
All right, this is the time of the race when stuff starts heating up in this particular corner right there. He jocked off the track.
He overdrove.
And Marcus Ambrose. Both Canadian drivers, all 3 of our top guys right there.
Alex Tagliani had to check up. He's going to lose some spots. Everybody gets underway, and now they've got their work cut out for them.
We talked about it 5 minutes ago. The weather has that type of effect on the drivers, that urgency. You make things happen, and sometimes you regret it.
And now Jacques Villeneuve finds something that he has not had all day, a damaged race car, and he's going to have to figure out if he can get it back to the front. Ron Fellows is your race leader. Patrick Carpentier in his swan song, his final race, is running 2nd. Leffler in 3rd, Tagliani 4th, Robbie Gordon 5th. And all kinds of smoking. Oh,
Elliott Sadler smoking.
And the 22 goes around again, so it has gone from bad to worse for Jacques Villeneuve just that quickly.
Yeah, this is the part of the race where everything's going haywire now. Now the drivers are out of brakes like we talked earlier. Their brakes are low. They can't stop. And they sailed it down to that turn 1. Boy, you saw Jacques Villeneuve, the 22 car, lock up the rear brakes like our Tim Brewer was talking about earlier. Got that baby loose and won off course.
You can see all the damage on the 22. Let's go back and show you what happened again on the restart.
Marcus Ambrose was racing hard, doing a great job, and I think that Jacques like, wow, I'm not going to have him cleared as easy as before. Rusty, I think you're right. He locked up the rear brakes. Then when he got in that grass, he lost the steering. Probably should have considered stopping and exiting turn 2. in hindsight.
And then here's the second incident. Oh, we got help from Ambrose.
Yeah, Ambrose is mad right now. He's mad at the 22 car, taking it out on him.
Yeah, you can bet that was retaliation.
From on board. Here's what it looked like.
The 22 off the track here, but you're really good piling up ahead of you. Stay out there, bud. Got one inside, one inside.
I'm surprised Tagliani didn't have some serious damage in that deal, but he managed to escape. He is still running in the third position. So it's the French-Canadian second and third right now with Carpentier and Tagliani.
Marty, we're getting a lot of overcast here right now. This track's starting to cool down. In fact, it's getting a little bit dark here in Montreal. It's definitely going to change the conditions to this track.
Taking a peek on the inside. On the left side of your screen, Elliott Sadler's in. Rick.
And they are working on the right front, trying to pull that fender out. They've gone ahead and changed tires. They put fuel in, but they've got a problem on this side. They're doing what they can to get it done. The biggest problem, though, was repairing the damage to the right front. They were still working on that. Shannon?
Well, Marcus Ambrose is in the 9. They're going to make right side tire change. They're also going to check that clearance, make sure there's no rubs. He also said that the steering wheel is pulling just a little bit to the left, but they're just going to take care of that right side damage right now.
So they'll get back out on the track. Meanwhile, you saw Alex Tagliani get around Carpentier, and so did the 38 of Leffler. So let's reset it. It's Fellows, Tagliani, Leffler, Carpentier, Robbie Gordon, and Allgaier, your top 6.
And the only advantage for Marcus Ambrose is that he can go the rest of the way now without stopping.
Yeah, that's true. He can make it on fuel now, and that's one good thing. And I really think that those guys that made the last pit stop on lap 30, if they get enough caution flags, and we talked about this, about 6 you're going to need, I think they can make it on fuel, Marty.
Well, let's listen in on Ron Fellows' radio. I'm sorry,
Signal
Jim.
to me when you're good to go, and you got plenty of clearance.
Jim, what do you got for us?
Okay.
Actually, guys, that voice is the only voice you're going to hear on Ron Fellows' radio. That was crew chief Jim Long. Ron Fellows cannot talk back to his crew. His radio, the microphone, is not working. They've been using hand signals, Fellows has, to indicate loose or tight when they come in on pit stop. So Jim Long, on his first race this year, has a driver that can't talk back to him. That sounds pretty good.
This is difficult enough, but to not be able to communicate with your driver and make proper adjustments, it's almost impossible. Rusty, you said earlier, he's as smooth as silk, and that's why he's leading right now.
Well, you take a look at him right now. I mean, he's run so many different styles of race cars in his career. He's got a great career, and it's just been, because of that, he knows how to be smooth. Shannon, got to be a disappointment down there to 22 camp.
Absolutely, but these guys are going to work, Rusty. They're going to do what they can to get him back out there with 4 tires. They're going to check all that clearance, make sure that there's no rubs on those tires. And Jock is saying inside in the car right now, guys, listening on the radio, that he's having a little bit of an issue with his steering. Maybe it's pulling a little bit, so of course they'll try to get that fixed up as well.
On the right side of your screen, Alex Tagliani takes the race lead from Ron Fellows as you finish up, Shannon, and the work continues on the 22. So Tagliani shoots back in front for the first time, and he will be our 6th different leader.
He's a teammate to Jacques Villeneuve this weekend, and he is absolutely the 2nd strongest car, qualified on the outside pole. And right now, it's a Canadian day.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you saw the problem with Jacques Villeneuve going into turn 1 and 2 and right in front of that major grandstands with all those Canadians, they went ooh, but when Tagliani cleared it, they went ah. So it was definitely an ooh-ah moment for these guys.
And look at the right side of your screen. Jacques Villeneuve is still on pit road, so he is now 1 lap down. And the hopes of all these hometown fans for their local hero, they're in some serious jeopardy.
Yeah, that's a disappointment, obviously, for he and the team. And but there are still some locals to cheer from, and the driver leading, Alex Tagliani, has done a great job. Not a mark on that car.
He is from Le Chenet, Quebec, has had 2 other starts in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. This would, without a doubt, be his best run in this car.
Can you believe Jason Leffler? He's running 3rd, and he's shown muscle all day long.
Yeah, and he's very concerned about his brakes. He's trying to cool them down all he can, because we heard him earlier say, my brakes are gone.
And Robbie Gordon just got around him. Let's get an update on that 12 car. How about it, Shannon?
Well, guys, this truly is a team on a budget. When I spoke with Chad Walter earlier this morning, he told me they were only able to test with Tagliani for 2 hours this week just to kind of shake down the car. This is also the same engine that Brad Keselowski Keselowski won with at Kentucky, so this is a 2-race engine. They've been pretty careful with their equipment and just trying to get out there and get the win because they told me they feel like they deserve to get to victory lane.
Well, his day job, of course, is driving for Sam Schmidt Motorsports in the IndyCar Series. Sat on the pole for this year's Indianapolis 500, but right now he is loving life at the front of this field. Look at that view that he has got. Clear track ahead of him and 27 laps to go here at Montreal.
Marty, they told me that these cars, in fact, the 12 car, this is their Charlotte primary car coming up. Now, that's a 1.5-mile oval track. That just goes to show you how this new design nationwide car can run at all the racetracks on the series.
I'll tell you what, they might want to try running their road course car at Charlotte.
Here are the Canadian drivers in the field and where they are running right now. First and second, Alex Tagliani, Ron Fellows all the way through with Andrew Ranger, who is out of this race. This week, it's baseball's biggest stage, and Albert Pujols and the Cardinals look to stay in contention for a division title when they take on the Cubs. Cardinals and Cubs and ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. It's presented by Taco Bell, 8 o'clock Eastern. It's also available online at ESPN3.com. As the clouds continue to darken here on what was supposed to be a picture-perfect sunny day, rain is off into the distance. And right now, Alex Tagliani has opened up a 1.1-second lead over Robbie Gordon. Ron Fellows is now third. Jason Leffler fourth. Justin Allgaier in fifth. And Danica Patrick is pulling into pit road. She was in the top 10 at one point. Rick, what is going on?
Well, she's having brake problems. In fact, she was so concerned that she thought she might not even be able to slow down properly. If you look on the left front of the car, you can see she's had some contact with somebody, possibly during that first turn incident. They're going to go ahead and try and do their best to try to get that left front fender pulled out. Danica was saying that she has so much problems trying to brake, she wasn't even sure she could get all the way around. And then when she hit the pit lane, she thought she didn't have enough ability to slow down. They pull off all the tape off the front and send her back out.
Well, and that was her one big concern. We talked to her last week at Loudon during the IndyCar race, and she said she tested Road Atlanta, and she said, man, I ate the brakes up there in 7 laps. She said, I got to learn how to take care of them.
I tell you what, she's not alone. This place will tear up brakes.
So there is Alex Tagliani, and the Quebec native is out in front. And we asked him before the race, what would it be like to win at Montreal?
It would be, I don't know, a dream come true. I won in Atlantic. I got on the pole in IndyCar there. You know, you know, the people from Quebec are really fanatics, and everybody from NASCAR loves going there because they see the atmosphere and they love the track. So if a guy from there could win, would be definitely fantastic.
And here's the thing to think about, guys. His 2 other races back in 2009 in the Nationwide Series, on a speedway, he finished 38. On a road course, 26th. Here he is leading.
Yeah, and the road race experts will tell you that these are the most difficult cars to drive, period. Whether it's an oval or a road course, they have a very difficult time adapting to these. As we look here, Scott Speed hits pit road. Jim, what do you have on the 33?
Well, let me tell you, Rick, Scott Speed has been as quiet on the radio as I've ever heard him. This is simply a splash and go. With 23 laps to go, they are in their fuel window. Scott Speed, as we said earlier, putting on quite an audition for next year.
And he is one of the few that we can absolutely guarantee you will be able to go the distance for the race, because Alex Tagliani's last pit stop came at lap number 28, so he has got to come in soon.
Rusty, I'm watching Alex, and he seems to be working a little harder to stay in front of Robbie Gordon than Robbie trying to catch him.
Well, this is, you know, he doesn't have many reps in a car like this, but I'm so impressed at how fast this guy is and how much he's caught on. Alex Tagliani has really impressed me for being a road racer, but you can't expect that he knows everything about these big, heavy cars. Those Indy cars, about 1,530 pounds of total weight. These cars, about 3,400. Look at Boris said, guys, off course.
Off course is right into the gravel pit, and that is down at the hairpin. One of those trouble spots we talked about at the beginning.
Yeah, and I think Boris might have had a left front tire go down. If you look at the character of the left front fender, it makes me wonder that he might have had a problem breaking into the turn.
And that brings out our third caution, and here's one of the guys that's going to get big benefit from this. Marcus Ambrose. He was over a minute behind the race leaders. He's still on the lead lap. He's going to be able to tighten back up into this field. We're going to have another restart. There is Marcus. And let's show you what happened to Boris Said that brings out this third caution.
This is leading into turn 13.
Yeah,
I'm
looks
sorry,
like
turn 10.
It actually looked like he started wheel hopping the back of the car, guys, and slid off course.
And he continues to hit the wall, almost like he, you know, there's something broke, and he's like, I know I'm done.
I'm just wondering if your first analysis was right, speculating about the tire, because it looked like, you know, it was getting twitchy and then heading to the wall.
Right.
You know, they kept working on the front suspension of that car. They had the hood open, trying to work on the toe in. Absolutely, maybe a tie rod came unscrewed and the car failed a suspension part. That could happen. Or the back of the car started wheel hopping and he got it out of control.
I don't want to be a bearer of bad news, but if you're a Danica Patrick fan, the gas on that front grille means only one thing. She still has brake issues. She did manage to stay on the lead lap, but here's what happened.
Crosses out, you got 2 back coming hard, looking to your left, coming inside.
And she can't stop. She gets into the grass here and obviously fills up the grill. She'll have to come down pit road. But if she doesn't have brakes, basically her day's over. The brakes will not come back at this point. They're cooked.
And we saw a lot of problem in last week's Cup race at Watkins Glen where drivers got off course. In fact, even the Nationwide, too. They got off course, got the grass on the front of the grill, caused a lot of problems. And with the splitter being so low, it just scoops all that grass up. It clogs up the grill, unlike some of the older cars in the past.
You can see she's hot, Rusty, and I don't know if you folks at home noticed that, but she had an ice bag inside the race car there. It's right here. She's struggling with the heat. Right underneath her right side belt. It helps a little, you know. If you can, the key to getting through something like this is if you can keep your head cool or your brain cool, it'll convince the rest of your body you're okay. But she has that visor up. That tells me the cold air box has failed. She's not getting any help.
I'll tell you what, if she's going to run full-time in the Nationwide Series next year, she better start working on handling this heat, because right now it's only about 80 degrees out there. It's not too hot.
Well, it's got a roof on it, right? She's used to racing cars that don't have a roof on it, and it's got to be a whole lot more comfortable, or certainly more cool. Less hot.
Well, we can tell you J.R. Fitzpatrick in the number 67 is going to get the free pass, and that'll put 29 cars back on the lead lap. We can tell you also that Blake Cook has taken his car behind the wall. Clements, McClure, Kennington, Ranger, Shepard, Jeff Green also. There is the last pit stops for our top 5. And the question is, do you dare pit with threatening weather?
Well, I think Tagliani's got to pit, don't you, Rusty?
He's running low. He's in the worst shape of everybody in that top 5 group.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of ways to lose these races, and running out of fuel under caution is not one you want to carry home.
Second worst would be 5th place Justin Allgaier. He last pitted on lap number 29.
Here he comes, Alex Tagliani.
Is he going to come?
He does. Yes, he does.
He made the fake, and now he is going to commit. And here comes Robbie Gordon as well, and a group of others.
I think Marcus Ambrose was saving fuel when he was running a minute behind, Marty. I'd be surprised if he didn't stay out.
He last pitted on lap number 45, and that goes back to what you said. If he gets enough caution, he might be able to make the distance, and he may get up a ton of track position and pick it up here.
I'm going to really be watching this strategy right now, because there's still about 10 guys on different fuel strategies. See what happens here, guys.
All right, let's send it down to Jim Noble.
All right, busy time on pit road. Justin Allgaier's in. They'll take 4 tires and try to pack that fuel cell full so Sunoco Racing Fuel to go the rest of the way. Ahead of him, teammate Jason Leffler. Same deal. They'll make a slight track power adjustment, but 4 tires for Leffler as well. Shannon.
Down here on pit road, we have the 77 Alex Tagliani. He is in his pit box. Says the car's just a little bit sluggish in the chicanes. They're going to make a 4-tire change and fuel. Robbie Gordon also in 4 tires for the 77 and pack it full of
They
fuel.
all pitted nice in front of all. Enough fuel to make it.
Race off pit road, and you can see Trevor Bayne picks up a ton of positions. But remember, we had cars that did stay out on the racetrack. Tagliani loses one. Stenhouse picks up, but Tagliani has fresh tires. So we'll reset the field for you, because Ron Fellows is your new leader with McDowell and Michael Annette. They stayed out. Well, back here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec, we are still under our 3rd caution. And Ron Fellows is our race leader. Let's get the latest. What are you hearing, Jim?
Well, Marty, remember, Ron Fellows cannot talk to his crew, but they can talk to him. Here's why they told Ron Fellows to stay out.
I'm hoping a caution comes out for rain. If caution comes out for rain, we're in Fan City. If it doesn't, we're still all right because there's a ton of cars between you and the guys that took tires.
So in other words, if it does not rain on this next lap, expect Ron Fellows to hit pit road and get at least a splash of gas.
Well, before we flash back to 2008, think about this. We're working lap 55. He last pitted on lap 32. That's 23 laps. We've seen some people go 26 laps. He's going to run out of fuel unless that rain comes. But talk about rain. Well, Ron Fellows knows well about that subject. He has won 4 times in the Nationwide Series, including right here at Montreal in 2008 when they played that strategy to a T, and that's what they're trying to do right now.
Well, Marty, it looks to me like the top 3 cars definitely will not make it on field if we go back green right here. Patrick Carpentier is very, very marginal, but everybody else on the field looks like they can make it on field now. They all stopped, and they're all in really good shape.
Well, Michael Annette's running in 3rd place. Rick, what are you hearing down on your end of the pit?
Yeah, they are rolling the dice as well. They believe they're about 4 laps short of going the distance. They're going to stay out and hope that during the course of the rest of this race that somehow they get enough yellow flags that they can go ahead and finally catch up on fuel strategy. But right now, the way it stands, Michael Annette would not be able to go the distance.
They last pitted on lap 42. We're working lap 55. And let's check in on Danica Patrick on the brake issues.
$2,900.
Okay, pump it up right quick. Make sure you got a pedal. You got a good pedal?
No, it's coming back a little. Hang on. Pretty long.
Yeah.
Brake. Roll off. Go keep going.
Yeah, brake system's full of air right now, and when that happens, they're in trouble. They got to bleed all that old air out of there, fluid, let it get a lot of.
When those pads get that thin, the pucks on the caliper come way out, and then the rotors knock them back, and you have to pump forever.
But when you get a long pedal, you've overheated everything. You put air into the system. And you're right, Ricky, that you do get a long pedal, but
you can't race that way.
No, you can't race that way. They've got to get all the air out of the system now, and they were doing the right thing by keeping her on pit road and trying to get all the air out. Get fresh fluid in her, cool everything back down. But still, her brake efficiency still won't be great, but at least she'll have brakes back.
These are all elements of NASCAR racing. If she's full-time next year, this is something that she'll remember, understand better.
All right, let's set this for you because we're getting ready to go back to green flag racing. The top 6 stayed out. Fellows, McDowell, Annette, Speed, Carpentier, and Stephen Wallace. That's your top 6. And we're racing again here at Montreal.
They got to get through that turn 1. Very crucial right now.
McDowell's going to come out of here with a lead. Oh, he gets a little bump from Fellows.
And Fellows is going to take the spot. You saw it from high above.
Just a little bit of contact.
I'll tell you what, guys, Trevor Bayne's still in this thing. All the problems he's having. He's in 7th position right now, still going. I mean, they fixed that car, got him back on track. He's recovered.
Keep an eye on Alex Tagliani in that number 12 car, though. Remember, he came in and he put on 4 fresh ones on lap 53. We know he can go the distance.
Stephen Wallace has moved up to 4th. He's working hard on Patrick Carpentier for 3rd. That's a great recovery. He was speeding earlier in the race.
Well, he did a great job. They hit pit road on lap 50 under green, and we all kind of thought, what's going on? And then the caution flag come out. That put him up front with full tank of fuel and 4 new tires. 66 is in great shape right now.
And Michael McDowell's in great shape as he takes over that 2nd spot. He gets around Carpentier. You're on board with Stephen Wallace, who's in 4th.
Boy, this is a part of the racetrack you really want to make a pass here. It's tough. It's tough right there.
3 wide. There's contact. Carpentier goes around.
Oh, you can almost see it happening right there because that's a turn. That suckers you right in there.
Yeah, 3 wide was not a good decision there. You know, it's hard enough by yourself. 2 wide's asking for trouble, but 3 wide will not work.
And Patrick Carpentier in his last race before he retires is not going to get the finish that he wanted as he finds himself deep in this field right now. Fellows and McDowell have sort of opened up a bit of a margin over Alex Tagliani, who has now moved into third. Trevor Bain is fourth, and the caution is out. Oh, there's the 23. And there is the reason why Alex Kennedy has had contact. And you can see on our lap chart, or on the track, you see right where he is, and that is a precarious position, as that is turn number 8. So quickly, we have our fourth caution. And remember, you were talking about Marcus Ambrose, and he needed some laps.
And guess what? He's got it. Like Ambrose was within striking distance right now. Now he's 12th, and they're closed back up.
Let's go back and show you exactly what happened to Alex. Contact with the 15 at Timmy Hill, sends him around and sends Hill through the grass.
Yeah, he just overshot the turn, couldn't get slowed down, got into the back of Timmy Hill, and can't refire the car here.
All right, here we go into this 3 wide deal that didn't work.
Yeah, look, you're going in straight here. There's no way you're going to make this turn, and you're just in too deep.
Yeah, too deep. Thought he could make the pass. He's got, now he slides across, gets blocked. Aggressive move right there.
On board with Patrick. And this is the worst view a race car driver ever has.
No, I don't think Patrick knew that that there was a car underneath him there either. He was occupied with Michael Annette, the 62, and you know, he didn't expect it, because 3 wide won't work.
Well, Carpentier is back to 25th position, still on the lead lap. In fact, we have a total of 28 cars, and it looks like Luis Martinez will get the lucky dog for the second time today and get back on the lead lap and
saving fuel.
Saving fuel.
That's about all the competitors will be doing that now, I would say. Just save all you possibly can. Like we talked earlier in our broadcast, they're really concerned about what they learned at Road America when they had 3 green white checkers and ran a lot of people out of gas because of it.
So a three lap run here, a green white checker, would be an extra 9 miles. That's a lot of fuel.
And look at Fellows. I mean, he's almost on fumes. Remember, folks, he pitted on lap 32. We have completed 56.
Yeah, sometimes the weather gets you.
Yeah, I had him coming out pit road between lap 57 and 59, and he's only 3 laps from that right now. So he's still hoping that rain's can come.
I thought he was fast enough that if he had pitted with the rest of them, he could battle for the win. Boy, it's hard to race the weather, isn't it?
It is. You know, and I've learned a long time ago, don't second guess those crew chiefs, because those guys are in there, they're figuring everything, they're sitting back looking at it. As a driver, you're in that car, you're all jacked up, and you're hot, and you're thinking about what's going on, and you need to leave that decision to the crew chief when it comes to that.
Danica Patrick's crew getting loaded up in case they want to bring her back in. She is shown in 27th. Next to last car on the lead lap, having brake issues. And right now we're keeping all of our eyes on Ron Fellows and his fuel situation. With McDowell, give you an idea, Michael in second place pitted 10 laps later. And we can confirm the 39 of Luis Martinez was the free pass, so that will give us 29 cars back on the lead lap. So it's still up for grabs. The weather is beginning to threaten here in Montreal. And Ron Fellows is in front, but low on fuel. Here's under our fourth caution here at the Napa Auto Parts 200 from Montreal, Canada, as the record is 5, which we set last year. Hopefully this will be the last one. We do have a chance of weather, and the big question for Ron Fellows and all of us is, does he have enough fuel? Jim Noble, what are you hearing?
The answer, Marty, is for the time being, yes, but not much longer. The exact quote that was just relayed to Ron Fellows is, save gas and pray for rain. But he was told he will have to pit in the next 3 laps. The rain has not helped us, is what his crew chief told him. So Ron Fellows is going to have to get a big rainstorm right about now or hit pit road.
Well, for more on the fuel situation and how it is affected by road course racing, let's check in over at the Craftsman Tech Garage with Tim Brewer.
One of the adjustments we have to make when we go road racing in Montreal is the fuel cell itself. Historically, we'll have the fuel pickup mounted over on the right rear corner of the fuel cell. The reason being, centrifugal force forces all the fuel over here in this area. But when you go to a road race, you want to move this pickup over in the center. what that does when you're turning left and you're turning right, deaccelerating, it keeps all the fuel in this container, and fuel mileage, it's a must. But picking up every ounce of fuel out of fuel cell to win a race in Montreal, you better get all the fuel out of the fuel cell.
And Ron Fellows may not have enough, as here are the last rounds of pit stops for the top 5. And you can see that he is on the short end of that stick.
Well, we're right on the edge of rain. There's no doubt about that. I think probably in about 20 minutes it's going to hit it, just from looking at my little device I've got up here. But I never thought we'd have rain here at this track, how good the weather looked. And the forecast didn't even forecast it.
It was beautiful this morning. Yeah. Not a cloud in the sky.
Look at that.
Ron Fellows has 4 road course wins in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. He won here, as we mentioned, in 2008. Did not finish, however, the last 2 editions of this race. And there are the rain tires. And Shannon, let's check in on your end of pit road.
Well, Alex Tagliani, guys, you know, we've talked about the limited amount of starts he's had in this series. Crew chief just got off the pit box, talked to all of the crew guys, because they work on the Cup Series usually, told him exactly what would happen if it did start to rain as far as putting those rain tires on. As far as his driver, Tagliani came over the radio and says, "Is there anything you need to tell me?" Chad Walter says, "It is go time." And Alex said, "That is exactly what I wanted to hear." He knows those 2 guys in front of him are short on fuel, and the 12 is good to go.
Marty, I can be a little bit concerned about Fellows running out of fuel, you know, maybe on the restart or on the track and these tight turns, particularly on the backstretch.
Lights are out on the pace car, which means we are going to go back to green flag racing. And the question will be is how soon does Ron Fellows have to surrender the lead, or does the rain save his bacon?
No, I tell you, the thing I'm more concerned about right now, Marty, is that dreaded turn 1. What's going to happen when they get down to turn 1? Are they going to keep it on the track? I haven't seen many people have been able to do that with these brakes wore out and the tires down.
Fellows took driver's right. You saw what happened last time on the restart when the 22 got too hot going down in there, and it cost him dearly. Jacques Villeneuve is now 2 laps down, shown in 30th position.
We're going to see some aggression from the drivers back in the field a little bit, like Ambrose running 14th. You got Robbie Gordon running 11th. They know it's time to go.
It's Fellows, McDowell up front, then Tagliani and Trevor Bayne. Despite all the issues he's had, he is an amazing position of 4th. Michael in that 5th, Allgaier 6th, Stephen Wallace 7th, Jason Leffler 8th, Ricky Stenhouse and Eric Almirola round out the top 10.
Marty, this is the part of the race last year where we just saw everybody just tearing these things up. Now, we saw a lot of aggression. We probably saw more wrecks a day than we've saw in a long time. We talked on our countdown show how this is a very, very aggressive track. But that turn 1 just left the screen right there. Man, that place sucks them up and tears them up. It's amazing.
Pace car is pulled off through turn number 14. They'll form up. Last time the starter held him very, very late until he gave him the green flag. That's a long front straightaway. And he is still holding that flag. They pick up speed. Now we're back to green flag racing.
And a good start by Fellows. He got a really good jump.
Yeah, Ron did a great job. Got through the gearbox good.
Watch Tagliani also.
Little contact between McDowell and Fellows.
So far, everybody's made it through.
Wow.
Fellows is going to hold on to the lead, side by side for
They
second.
made me look bad on that one. They did a great job getting through that turn 1 and 2. A lot of patience right there.
Tagliani was in a position to strengthen that right-hander. He's moved into 2nd place.
Oh, it's tight back through there, guys. We turn 3 and 4, turn 5 and 6 coming up there.
Look at this, a run for the lead.
Tagliani is going to bump his way into the lead past Ron Fellows. So Tagliani, in front of the home country or home province fans of Quebec, is back in front.
He last pitted on lap 42. These cautions really helped his case. But by no means is Tagliani in great shape on fuel.
No, he's a little tight himself, but the guy really in trouble is Ron Fellows right now. He should be coming in probably the next lap guy, so he doesn't risk running out on the racetrack.
I agree with you, Rusty. Now it's getting really risky. You don't want to run out here. You'd be 3 or 4 laps down.
14 laps to go next time. Listen to the fans down at the hairpin. The French-Canadian fans love it when their guy is in front. And right now, all hopes are pegged on Alex Tagliani.
But if we go back not that far, Marcus Ambrose is making a charge. I believe he's up to 6th or 7th. Remember, he restarted like 14th.
He is running in the 7th position right now as they head down. There he is, taking a peek underneath Trevor Bayne.
I'm telling you, this guy's a bulldog on restart.
Oh, and look at him sidestepping, and here comes Fellows.
That's a smart thing to do right there for Ron.
I'm might be wrong, guys, but I think that's 8 spots for Ambrose in that one lap.
He was 14th, and now, as you can see, he is right there in the mix.
He's 4th.
And he's shown in 4th with Fellows making his final pit stop. 3 wide coming down the front straightaway.
Just got speed back there. Kevin Harvick's 33. Some type of problem with that car right now. Wear off the pace. And look at Carl Edwards. That car is beat up. Oh, he misses turn 1.
And he's going to have to...
He has to stop. The rule is you have to stop. Am I correct?
He has to come to a complete stop and then restart, or he would get a pass-through penalty. Let's check in with Jim Noble.
As you said, Ron Fellows in for his final pit stop, he hopes. Give some gas, 4 tires. He also has some left rear fender damage. They're going to get enough gas in to get Ron Fellows the rest of the way.
Pretty positive, guys. That was doom and gloom for Ron Fellows right there. That just puts it behind all those guys that can make it really tough for him to get back up front right now.
Look at Ambrose taking a peek for 3rd. He's going to make it look easy as he gets underneath Allgaier.
And we watched Marcus Ambrose last week, Ricky, him bulldogging right through in that Cup race. When I thought he was done because of his fuel strategy, this guy made it work. Look how aggressive he is right now.
And Rusty, you know what it's like when you win your first race, the wind is to your back, right? I mean, he's coming off his first Sprint Cup Series win. So he's in a position of strength now.
Yeah, I'm going to be watching his lap times right now. When he gets clear like he is now, man, he can flat lay some fast times out. Again, this car is out of Richard Petty Motorsports. This number 9 car is. It's a Roush Fenway Ford prepared by Jack Roush's guys. And a real fast road race car.
More damage for Alex Kennedy in the 23 as it looks like he has got the right corner again as he's trying to nurse it around. Will we get another caution? Right now, we are still green.
Now, there's pull-off areas around here for him to get off the track. Let's hope he does that and not bring the caution flag out.
Boy, he's got a long way to go, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's heading for the hairpin right now.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any sign that he's going to stop.
64. That is Jason Bowles as he ran earlier today in the Canadian Tire Series, finished 2nd in that race.
Marcus Ambrose ran 9/10 of a second faster than the leader.
Yeah, he's got
almost a full second.
Sorry, Rick. He's got enough speed right now to take the lead. Get past Alex Tagliani. And he's got 13 laps. He's got a ton of time. Yeah. But he's got to race that rain, and it's coming.
There is that. There is that. You got McDowell occupying the mirror of Alex Tagliani. That's going to slow them both down. It's going to help Marcus Ambrose's case. It's going to get really busy here going into turn 1 and 2.
Guys, word from NASCAR. The 16 of Trevor Bayne is going to have to do a pass-through. We didn't see it on our cameras, but they say he blew one of the quarters, did not come to a stop, so he will have to do a pass-through. Here we are, a battle for 2nd, side by side. Ambrose with McDowell in the 18.
All right, now he's going to climb the drag race down the long straightaway. These guys are running about 170.
Caution is out.
Wow.
Our 5th caution. There's some of the debris on the track.
And did I see some rain on the lens of the camera just then?
I saw a few drops myself.
Yeah, we're at a point now where, depending on how long this takes, we could be in trouble with the weather.
We have 13 laps to go, 12 next time by. And Alex Tagliani had himself about a 4/10 of a second lead and did not necessarily want to see this because he was in good control.
Marcus Ambrose is thinking to himself, I found new ways to lose this race. Not again.
He's had an eventful day. He started in the back of this field. Remember, he just flew over from Michigan. Made it all the way into the top 3, then fell back, has now fought his way back up into the top 3 again. And we'll have to wait and see where they're going to shake out. Is McDowell going to be listed as 2nd, or will Ambrose be listed as 2nd when the yellow came out?
McDowell is on fumes right now. I got him. I mean, he's got enough fuel right now, guys. But to finish the race, it looks like to me he's about 1 lap short. He's just got to be turning his engine off, saving all the fuel he can, and he might just pull this thing off.
Rusty, we started the day telling everyone the window was 25 to 27. He would have to go 32 laps. Is that correct?
Yeah, you're right. We had a lot of caution flags, Ricky, and one thing that we got to remember, they're under caution. They are turning the engines off. They are saving a ton of fuel. And they're at the point right now, they're at a point of no return. They're going to go for it now.
The rule of thumb is 2 caution laps is the equivalent of 1 green flag lap.
And we're hearing from the production truck that we do have the situation involving Trevor Bayne. Now, remember, he had all kinds of problems early in the day. And then worked his way back up into the top 10, and here's where he comes across.
And he didn't completely stop, and they were emphatic about that. You need to come to a complete stop or you'll be penalized.
Let's check in with Shannon Spake.
Well, guys, what a day it's been for Trevor Bayne. And finally, there were some smiles down here in their pit box. They'd worked their way all the way back into the top 5, and he just had this to say over the radio. And we've heard this be a problem with the Roush Fenway guys. Stenhouse Jr. had some issues. The 60 also had some issues. But right now, as you heard, Trevor Bayne really dealing with those brakes. He says that they're completely gone.
So Trevor has the issues, as we've heard some other drivers have, as far as brakes. We knew that was going to be a problem. As I just did some math, guys, we found out it was 9 caution laps. It's now 10 that McDowell has run since his last pit stop on lap 42. So we'll have to do some math, but it's going to be close for him.
Did you get a new battery for that calculator?
I've given up. I've just set it down because I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to mislead our listeners about what's going on. But I do have a feeling we'll get some more caution laps, and it'll help these guys. But if we get those caution laps late and start going to that green, white checker stuff, those 3 overtimes, that's what's going to get him in trouble right there.
So you're looking at 32 laps from the last time he pitted to the end of this race. If you take the 10 caution laps and you divide it by 2, so you got 5 green flag laps. You deduct that from the 32. I'm looking at 27, which is inside the window now.
Yeah, that's where they can
right on the edge.
To making it. That's right.
Hey, guys, I want to update something. NASCAR saw the replay that we just showed you at home, and they have rescinded the penalty on the 16, saying he was forced into that position.
Yep.
He did lose spots as a result of being forced in that position, so there will be no further penalty for Trevor Bayne, so he will stay in the 10th position, right behind Reed Sorensen. And remember when Reed Sorensen, at the beginning of this race, was a lap down? What a great day this has been.
Marty, I'm glad they did that because, you know, he did get forced into that corner in turn 13 and 14. And Ricky, you are right. The penalty is comes up with a complete stop, then take off. But he got knocked out in the middle of the racetrack. He couldn't stop on the middle of the track.
I applaud NASCAR for taking the time to review it and making that decision. That's perfect.
Let's also review what's happened on the 60, because normally Carl Edwards is usually running up front. He is 15th right now, and we haven't mentioned his name very much today. Unlike Marcus Ambrose, he too started in the back, but Ambrose has been able to work his way up. Let's show you what's happened to Carlos. He's got all kinds of damage all over the number 60 Fastenal Ford.
There's another car just starting to lock those rear brakes up. I mean, they've lost their fronts right on the edge of locking the backs up. Let's watch it from his onboard one time and see what it looks like. Here we go.
Good back all right there, 22 off.
I'm really confused though. I thought that he had to come to a complete stop or he would have gotten a penalty.
Well, you are right, but the problem there is that he slid through that thing too. He lost it, got out of control there, and slid through the area there and back on the track. Just can't stop on the racetrack. So one thing I am wondering, will he get a assessed time penalty, which they did talk about that in a meeting the other day.
Well, we'll check with NASCAR and see if there is going to be a penalty to the 60. There's some of the fans here. It has been a great day for the Canadian fans. Their hometown hero was running up front. Jacques Villeneuve led the most laps, 29 of our 6 different leaders, and right now all their hopes are pinned on that man. His name, Alex Tagliani. Could he pick up his first nationwide win? Stay with us to find out.
In 2000.
Here's to the...
Lights are out on the pace car here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Quebec, as we are getting ready to go back to green flag racing. Let's reset it for you. There'll be 10 laps to go. We have a total of 27 cars on the lead lap. Alex Tagliani has taken driver's right as the race leader. Then it's McDowell, Ambrose, Allgaier, Robbie Gordon. Brian Scott has moved into 6th, Stephen Wallace 7th, Eric Almirola, Reed Sorensen, Trevor Bayne. That's your top 10.
Marty, I need to correct myself. The 60 car went through 1 and 2. There's no penalty there. Only in 13, 14.
And we're back to green flag racing.
Whoa, and this is tight. This is good racing.
That's a great shot from our helicopter right there. Looking down, is this how everything's happening? Boy, they did a good job getting through turn 1, guys.
Side by side, Marcus Ambrose has done it. He's gotten around Alex Tagliani. Michael McDowell is now in 3rd. Robbie Gordon is shown in 4th. Ambrose has got the bit between his teeth, and he is flying.
I think he's fast enough to distance himself between the second and third place cars.
Well, fuel's not going to be an issue for Marcos, and I thought that he was in big trouble after the accident, after he got together with Jacques Villeneuve, and my gosh, he came out of that clean.
He last pitted on lap 53. McDowell last pitted on lap 42, but we think he has enough, courtesy of the 11 laps of yellow that we ran.
We've seen some great recoveries today. I mean, from several drivers, including Stephen Wallace, who's back up to 6th now.
A lot of fuel strategy, and it all worked out for most everybody right now. Although the race is not over yet. I'm not going to say it's worked out for everybody. Michael McDowell is the guy that's right on the edge right now for getting himself in trouble fuel mileage-wise. But, Ricky, I do think he's okay.
Did you see Robbie Gordon trying to pass on the outside there? They're still going back deeper in the field. 64 Bowles is going to get hit there. No, they managed to gather it back up.
Yeah, I think Robbie's got something left in the tank here, guys.
Well, look at Michael McDowell. Good pass on Alex Tagliani getting into turn 13 there.
So move McDowell up to second, and Tagliani is going in the wrong direction. And you're right, Ambrose is stretching it.
Yeah, and he just looks so good coming up through traffic. And oh my gosh, Tagliani's making a dive back underneath him.
Yeah, but now he's going to be on the outside of the next corner. And there's Robbie Gordon.
Wow.
Ooh, Robbie checks up.
That's awesome racing. You heard those Canadian fans in 1 and 2 going crazy up there, guys.
That's as good as it gets, Russ.
It does. These guys are really driving great. I'm very, very impressed with Alex Tagliani.
Right now, they are all cheering.
Look at Allgaier.
They are all cheering for that number 12 car. Boy, it is go time, as we always call it, because you can see everybody just leaning on it.
Speaking of Allgaier, where did he come from?
Man, he had the rear end hung out in that car right there, almost spun it out. Did a good job, gathered it up.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. We haven't talked much about him today, but he's running in the top 5.
He's getting a lot of pressure from Steven. There he goes, trying to make that pass now. Wow. Wow, something's up with Allgaier's car.
Yeah, that was, you know, maybe he just knew that it was a matter of time and he gave up the spot. That's not a bad idea.
He could be thinking points, guys.
Robbie Gordon gets around the 12. So Alex Tagliani, after restarting on point, now finds himself bumped back to the 4th position.
And Stephen Wallace had that incident down in turns 10 and 11, and he's rallied back. 5th place now as we see Alex Tagliani get back underneath Robbie Gordon. I've never seen drivers go back and forth like they are here these last 2 laps.
A lot of patience right there, Ricky, I think, out of these 2 veterans right now. Veteran race car drivers. Maybe not veterans, Marty, in stock cars, but veteran drivers out of Tagliani.
But they're testing each other's patience, aren't they?
Woo, that's a lot of speed right there, guys.
Somebody's got to give.
It's a game of chicken.
Robbie's going to... Oh, he taps him. Stephen Wallace has got the best seat in the house for that deal.
Well, maybe. You might want to get ahead of this.
On board with Stephen as they head down past the start-finish and into turn number 1. 8 laps to go. Remember this. Every year, the final lead change has occurred in the last 7 laps. Don't leave us.
I wouldn't rule anything out at this point. We've seen about all there is to see.
Robbie Gordon's giving Tagliani all he can take right now. See how sparks flying out from underneath Robbie's car. He keeps running over those curbs, hitting the sway bar down there and grinding it off.
Oh my gosh, that's a tough place to pass right there.
He backs off. He doesn't make contact. This is good, hard racing. They're running each other clean.
This is outstanding racing. It's like a 12-round heavyweight battle. They're going toe-to-toe.
How long can they be this patient, Ricky? Who knows, huh?
Well, they're going to run out of brakes because you can't run this hard for this long a time without brake pedal fading.
Yeah, good point, because there's no airflow to the front of Robbie's car to cool his brakes. Oh, no, not again.
The spin is around.
Not again.
Mariette Defoe is turned around again. 3rd time today.
Ooh, good job. Just get off the track.
We're still green, guys. She can keep it going.
She's 5 laps down in 34th position.
Mariette, turn that wheel left.
Yeah.
Don't turn it right.
And now she comes right back out across the track, but nobody's there. Now she's got damage out the right rear. They're going to have to bring it in to get that out of the way.
It's not her favorite corner today.
No, it's been a tough corner for her. They'll have to pit. They got a piece of the roll bar hanging off the rear bumper.
As we mentioned, she has done some ARCA racing as well. Finished a best of 10th in that series.
Marco's just hitting his lines right now, Marty.
Oh, no.
Right on.
Oh, look to the left. Patrick Carpentier. He has pulled the car off. and his 27-year career is going to end as a spectator out on the racetrack.
Marty, I think you can see the emotion in his face. You know, if this is the end, it's not the way that he wanted it to finish.
Oh, and a big puff of smoke, and Robbie Gordon's got damage.
Oh, my gosh.
What the heck happened here?
Well, it looks like he made contact. You can see the hood is crinkled up, and he may have busted an oil line from the oil cooler, Rusty, something, something under the hood.
It's a hard hit, whatever it is.
Now, they were going at it back and forth. They were mixing it up as aggressive as you can be and survive. Obviously, it looks as though it took its toll on him.
All right, we were putting a period on Patrick Carpentier, and there he is. And the crowd seeing him on the screen, they're giving him a cheer, and here's what happened to Robbie. Oh, just right into the back.
He just rams him. Wow, I mean, that's he just picked the throttle up, and it got in the back of him.
And then looked like Allgaier and the 66 of Stephen Walls got together, and Allgaier was able to get around him. And there is the end result for Robbie Gordon, who had a great day going.
Looks like he hurt an oil cooler, guys. That's an oil line causing that fire. And that's exactly where that's located at. So,
Rusty, that's a slow turn. I don't understand that.
He said, look at his frustration. He just can't believe he did that. A very small hit, but enough to knock the radiator and the oil cooler out of the car. Such a good run. A lot of frustration.
It's a tough pill to swallow.
Look at it. Every time our cameras, they see that on the big screens here, and listen to this crowd. What a salute. They're chanting Carpentier. They love their hometown heroes.
That is a first-class individual. You know, anybody that's met Patrick is better for it. He had a great career.
Let's go back and show you exactly what put him out of this race with only 7 laps remaining.
Gets underneath, or tries to get underneath Danica Patrick. He does not have position. Something failed in the drive line.
And everybody just goes flying by. And that's not the way, like you said, not the way you want to end your career.
He's a true pro, though, Marty. Just pulls this thing off course in a safe way, not to bring a caution flag out and impede the race. And look at this. He pulls over there. But what a great seat. Gets up in the grandstands to watch the most exciting part of the track.
And you know what? He's getting the tribute. He's getting the recognition he deserves.
So the fans will give him a salute as the other pace car, they have 2 of them here, takes him around the track. Stay with us. It's not over yet.
It's the LensCraft.
For Marcus Ambrose, he took care of business in Cup finally last week. His business here is still unfinished. This was 07 when Robbie Gordon spun him out. Then in 08, the rain, well, he ended up finishing 3rd in that race. And then in 09, this was the biggest heartbreak of all. He clips this curve way too hard, launches into the air. Carl Edwards ducks under on the final corner to take the win. And last year, an electrical problem put him in his first DNF position. And now, as we get ready to go back to green flag racing, the lights are out, and there is Marcus Ambrose. He started in the back of this field, moved up into the top 3, fell all the way back to 28th, and is now in position to win this race. Michael McDowell stands in his way. And we have just been told by NASCAR they're going to add 1 more lap, so we will only have 4 laps remaining. And it's because of the speedy dry that they have out on the track.
I tell you, that's a good call right there, because you know those drivers that get in that, and there'll be another caution flag. Good call blowing that off and try to get some more grip for him. Look at that.
Yeah. You don't want that to determine the race.
No, not at all.
Okay, so we're going to step aside, get 1 more quick break in, and when we come back, we should be going back green flag racing with just 4 remaining at Montreal. Out. Back here at Montreal, the pace car lights have just gone out. Means green flag next time by. Let's quickly check in with Rick DeBrule.
Yeah, needless to say, 2 very disgruntled and not happy guys out here. Patrick Carpentier, Robbie Gordon. Patrick, not the way you wanted to end this today, your career. What's going through your mind right now?
No, I mean, like Robbie, we had a great car today. We're saving the brakes and everything and taking our time, and we're up at the front, and I guess Stephen Wallace hasn't learned how to brake yet, so ran the back of me and spun me out. And after that, I was really pissed off, so I started running everybody over, and everybody started running me over, so that was it.
At least he had perhaps a little bit of fun out there as he was going. Robbie, and let's talk about the thing. You were running so strong today. It looked like you had a car that potentially could do it. What happened?
Yeah, we beat ourselves. That's how we do it here. It seems like we always come here and have a shot at winning. You know, I passed Patrick clean. He dive bombed me down in the hairpin. Alex, sorry, thank you. And I don't know. We went down into the last corner. I was going to move him over a little bit, and the bumpers didn't line up, so I got the radiator, and that's my fault. But you know, looking back at it, we needed to go, and I needed to get Patrick when I passed him the first time, and he didn't race me clean.
Robbie Gordon never leaves anything out on the racetrack, and tried again, but didn't pull it off here at Montreal, guys.
All right, tough break for both those guys. And as you can see, there is still a lot of cleanup going on. In fact, they have added another lap. The lights are back on the pace car. So that gives us a moment to talk about ESPN's coverage of the NFL preseason. It continues Monday night. Jake Cutler and the Bears take on Eli Manning and the Giants. It's Monday Night Football, the preseason version on ESPN, Monday at 8 Eastern. Our coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown.
Now hard to reach is Rex made for.
All right, lights are out on the pace car here at Montreal. We'll have 3 laps of green flag racing when we come back to get the start. It is Ambrose, McDowell, Tagliani, Allgaier, and Stephen Wallace, your top 5. Some others that we should point out, Reed Sorensen has battled back. So has Elliott Sadler. Sadler's shown in 8th position. Sorensen 10th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. shown in 17th. So the points championship right now, as it stands, about 15 points separating the top 3. Let's get an update quickly from Rick DeBrule.
Let's talk about Elliott Sadler and what a race it's been for him in terms of the way he's played this out. He knew he wanted to be there at the end. All day he was talking about the fact that don't worry about those one-timers. Go for the guys that matter. At this point, he's managed to pull off the points that are so important to him. Jim?
Michael McDowell, after about an hour of saving fuel and some fortuitous cautions, Michael's good to go now by a half lap extra, but that does not take into account any green, white, checkered, guys. So if it goes green and doesn't go past that, Michael McDowell is in good shape.
All right, Jim, thank you. Lucky Dog goes to Timmy Hill, gives us 26 cars back on the lead lap as they begin to form up heading towards the final 2 corners.
You know, Marcus Ambrose on the surface looks like he has things in complete control, but there's an old adage in racing: the one guy you don't want in your mirror in the closing laps is a driver who had never won a race yet. They're a little eager, a little ambitious, a little.
Michael McDowell fits that mold for the Nationwide Series. Alex Tagliani fits that mold as well.
Might take chances that other drivers wouldn't.
No, absolutely. You're thinking right now, hey man, you've won your race. I haven't. It's my turn right now. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it.
Well, we're going to find out. Ambrose is again selected driver's right. The crowd comes to their feet one more time. 3 laps to go when we get the green flag. They make their way down, and again, the starter's holding on and holding on.
It's a late start.
It is, and he finally gives them the green flag. Hang on. Well, the top 10 are going to make it through. Sadler gets bumped out.
Oh, you see Michael McDowell out in that speedy dry, guys. No grip out there.
Yeah, Stevens moved up to 3rd.
It is Ambrose out in front of Tagliani. Stephen Wallace with what would be a career best run if he can hang on to that position.
Boy, McDowell really got himself in a bad position by being on the outside with all that speedy dry. You saw his car slipping and sliding. Stephen got underneath him and got going. Another clean start, guys, from turn 1 and 2.
It surprises the heck out of us, doesn't it?
It does me.
We were expecting worse.
Let's give the guy in 5th place a ring of the bell, because Brian Scott, whoa, look out.
McDowell is
he get
in
off
the
course and almost got so loose it turned it around. He saves it nicely.
That was a big save. He had one tire in the grass. Brian, a hard way to break.
Brian Scott has 1 top 5 in his entire Nationwide career. Here he is on a road course, and there he is running in 5th. And there's Eric Almirola with his string of top 10s still going strong as he is at a good run. Look at this. The 32 of Reed Sorensen goes around.
bad for our point guy.
He had come so far.
He was second in the points just then, guys, by 2 points behind Ricky Stenhouse. This is going to hurt him big time.
Drop to the back of the
McDowell
field.
making a pass here.
Taking a peek on the inside of Stephen Wallace as they go into 13. Can he make it stick? Little contact up over the curbs. They both survive.
Well, that's as good as that can turn out. You see Stephen choosing to block a little on the inside, position himself for turn 1.
2 laps remaining on this 2.7-mile circuit. Wallace trying to hold off Scott. Looks like there was a little contact there.
Yeah, courtesy of the bumper cam, there was no doubt about it.
Well, you can tell the intensity heating up.
Oh, Ricky Stenhouse goes around.
That was our point leader right there. That is great for Reed Sorensen. We got a race again here, guys.
And he's got smoke out that right side. Is it a tire rub? Uh-oh. Remember the fact that the Roush engines, they've had some problems lately.
I think that's tire rub.
I think you're right. I think it is.
Boy, falling apart for a lot of the points contenders here late in the race. Elliott Sadler's, he dropped to 12th.
Marcus Ambrose doesn't know all the excitement that is going on behind him. And look at this. Tied for second, 17 back would be Sorensen and Sadler.
Scott Speed overheating big time, guys, shooting a lot of water out of that 33 car.
You think he might have some grass on the front of the grill?
He's got a lap and a half to go, and I guarantee he's not going to stop to pull it off.
The driver tissue melts down. That's all you can do, Marty. You're exactly right. Danica Patrick locked up.
Yeah, she's got brake issues again.
Still. Oh, right into Ron Fellow. She hit him accidentally. It's a tough part of the course.
She was running 13th, has a good run going despite all the brake issues. She's going to lose a couple of more spots here.
And Marty, it looks like her right rear quarter panel's tore up big time.
And there's still problems for Stenhouse. Remember, we talked about
it is motor.
It is motor. I was wondering, guys.
You're right.
Yeah, it's coming up hard.
Turn into turn 10.
And we've got a full course caution.
No, unbelievable.
But the final lap is out. No.
We got the white flag flying, Marty.
Check it, yes. Don't have to worry about it. No, it is a final lap. So it's going to be a full run to the finish.
Yeah, Marcus is just saying to himself, all I got to do is have a solid lap, no mistakes, hit my marks, don't miss those shifts. These things are second nature for him.
Oh, and that turn 14 is what got him a couple years now. When he hits the bump right there, and he got him out of control. He's got to be thinking that.
Let's give a little credit to his substitute driver while he was gone. A friend growing up, Owens.
Yep, good drive he did for Marcos, getting that car set up.
Owen Kelly did a great job.
Yeah,
Owen Kelly. And that was Marcus' decision.
Just a few corners left in the Napa 200. And the demons for Marcus Ambrose in less than 2 weeks will be taken care of on both the Cup and nationwide level.
Okay, this is a tough part right here into turn 10. A lot of drivers trying to outbrake each other into here. Let's just get through this corner. He does a great job, Marcos does.
Alex Tagliani there in second, with McDowell close by in third. Stephen Wallace still in a career best position of fourth. And Brian Scott with a sneaky little run. He never really cracked the top 5 until the end.
What about Alex Tagliani? Take a look at Michael McDowell trying to make a pass. Sees better, gets back in line, guys.
Marcos Ambrose went through a lot to get here. He's thinking right now it was all worth it.
Takes the corner nice and smooth this time. Comes down the long front straightaway.
Brian
Scott gets turned.
Awesome job, Marcus Ambrose. Awesome job, son. Nice job, guys.
And Marcus Ambrose gets the win.
Exciting run. And we make it without rain, guys.
This is a very entertaining race.
Great race, great race.
Brian Scott ends up coming in 12th position after the last corner spin.
And look how wounded that car is.
Awesome job, guys.
Second race in a row for Richard Petty Motorsports. He wins Watkins Glen last week. And he wins again here at Montreal, Canada.
The very appreciative fans. They wanted one of their Canadian drivers to win, but they will salute the champion.
Richard Petty and Andrew Murstein, the two got to be excited about their driver, Marcos Ambrose, what he's done. Really proud for him.
And let's check in with Shannon Spake. She's caught up with a very happy winning crew chief.
I'm telling you, a very happy crew chief. You guys had so much to overcome, starting in the back. You had a substitute driver for practice and qualifying. What was the key to getting this victory today?
Man, when Marcos got spun out there, I think by the 22, he was so determined, man. The car was really fast. The Richard Petty Motorsports DeWalt car was just so awesome. I don't know. He's the man. He is just the man.
And I think the crew down here, they're pretty good too. Guys?
All right, thank you, Shannon, as the celebration is just beginning here in Montreal, Quebec, as Marcos Ambrose, in literally a span of less than a week, wins his first nationwide race and his first cup race back at Watkins Glen. We'll get a chance to talk to him. I guarantee you he is going to have one big, deep breath and a lot of demons.
LensCraft NASCAR Nationwide Series at Montreal is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Back here at the circuit, as they say in French up here in Canada, Gilles Villeneuve. There is the winning car of Marcos Ambrose. And do you notice those little drops on the hood and the roof? Yes, it has just begun to sprinkle lightly here at Montreal. So we get this race in, all 74 laps, under dry conditions. All right, let's go back earlier in the race. And here on pit road, actually some contact we're hearing from the 66 and the 99 camp. As here is Stephen coming in. Whoa, okay, well. Jim, what's going on?
Well, that's the first thing I'm going to ask Steve Wallace about, even though he just posted a career-best fourth-place finish. You saw the same replay I did. What gives?
I don't know. My 5-hour Toyota was really fast today. We had a couple challenging moments where me and Carpentier were racing really hard, and I got underneath him. I tried to outbrake him. He crowded me. I got loose, and I spun him out. Obviously, Baxter was upset. I'd be upset too. You know, but only girls pull hair, so I don't really know what to say about that. But great finish for our 5-hour Toyota. The pit stops were great. The car ran great all weekend, and today was a good finish. And I feel really bad about what happened to Jason Leffler. That might have looked intentional. It wasn't intentional. I'm trying to seal everything up I can with him, and I feel really bad about him. And that was honestly a racing deal. Me and the 9-car Ambrose were side by side. He was in front of him, and I checked up, and Leffler was coming down, but I used to swear on my life that was not intentional. So, Jason, if you're listening, I'm sorry, and that's all I can say. But 5-hour Toyota was fast, man, and we're going to go to my favorite track, Bristol, have a good run.
Congratulations on the finish. That's Steve Wallace, guys.
And we do not have that on any of our cameras, so we can't show you exactly what he is referring to. And so there is Marcos Ambrose as he is making his way towards victory lane to begin the official celebration. So, tell you what, his hair's got to be hurting right now, doesn't it? Yeah, I was going to say, Jerry Baxter obviously not happy.
Oh, he's driving hard. And look, as Patrick Carpentier's last race, I understand the frustration out of everybody. I mean, I really do. This was a tough one for all of them, but I tell you, it was an exciting race. But
yeah, I thought Stephen made a mistake getting into the hair.
Yeah, it was a little tight in there.
But he redeemed himself. He battled back, had a top 5 finish, and it's just not the way you want to end the day.
Well, Danica Patrick did not end where she wanted. She was up in the top 15, but you saw the brake issues late. She ends up 24th. Let's talk to her.
Yeah, Danica Patrick had quite a day out there. There was some goods, and then there was some real bads. You just persevered, though. You just kept trying to get some mileage underneath you.
Yeah, we had a really good run going. It was smart of Tony to pit me early and get those good laps in, because apparently we picked up track position. I don't know. I'm just running, but that's what I heard. And, getting our way up to 8th or whatever, it felt really solid, felt really good. And then within 2 laps, the brakes went, and they went to the floor. I mean, there was nothing there. And they were awesome and kept me on the lead lap. So I was like, heck yeah, let's go. So.
And I heard you talking about respect out there, trying to run for respect.
I beat up my GoDaddy car a little bit, but I was, I mean, as an example, like, Carl bumped me in the hairpin a little bit. So he got me, and then so we went down in the hairpin. I gave him a little bump because, that's how it works, and or at least that's how I think it works anyway. If I'm wrong, please tell me. But yeah, it was about charging hard and being with good guys, and Villeneuve was up there, and he was kind of one of my childhood hero-like guys. So it was a cool place to be, and I learned a heck of a lot, and it was a bummer that I got a big wheel hop down in the hairpin, and I broke the axle or something like that. So anyway, it was, all in all, it was a good day, I guess.
At the very least, a very adventurous first nationwide road course race for Danica.
All right, thank you, Rick. And it's time now to head down to the One Main Financial Victory Lane. And let's celebrate with a man who's won 2 races in 6 days, Marcus Ambrose.
So many times, Marcus Ambrose has tried to win here at Montreal, guys, and he finally breaks through as the rain starts to fall. No rain tires today. You guys did have to overcome a lot. You said that you had 2 goals. 1, to win a Sprint Cup race on an oval, and 2, Montreal. What's it feel like to break through?
Yeah, just making a habit of winning for Stanley and Ford here 2 in 2 weeks. It's just awesome. Just can't thank these guys enough just for the opportunity. Been trying to win up here for so long, and I feel pretty hard done by this year. The race went my way, and I didn't lead as many laps, but I definitely won. The most important one, that was the last one.
You started in the back of the field. You had someone else practice your car. Walk me through the run-in with the 22 car that looked like it could have ended your day.
Yeah, I thought it did end my day. A bit of a bonehead move. I don't know what he was thinking, but got alongside him into turn 1 and held my line, and he must just lost talent across the grass or something and ran into us. But we were fortunate. Hit the side of the car, didn't hit the wheels too bad, so it bent the steering just a little bit, but in general, we got lucky and made the most of it.
What a day for Marcus Ambrose and this team, winning here at Montreal for the first time in his career. Marty?
Yeah, about passed the whole field twice. First time moving all the way up into the top 3, falling back to 28th, and then coming back to this. A winning moment at Montreal at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Stay with us. We've still got a lot more coming. Just some of the great fans that are making their way out of Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Here is the ticket to the race as we head back to the short track at Bristol. It's going to be a fun time next Friday night, and then on to Atlanta, Richmond, Chicagoland, and then all the way through to November at Homestead Miami Speedway, where we'll crown a champion. Let's check in now with Jim Noble.
Well, Marty, Alex Tagliani came oh so close to giving his home country a victory here in person. How much was that going through your mind as you were trying to chase down Marcus Ambrose?
Yeah, it was definitely crossing my mind once in a while, but I was so happy of the opportunity to race for Penske Racing, and driving the Dodge Challenger car this weekend was pretty quick, and it's unfortunate for Jack with what happened on one of the restart, but we decided to go with a car that was very good on the long run and very good on the tires, and I think we had one of the fastest car on the long run, but all these restarts were pretty tough for us. So I'm very proud, very thankful for all the help that I had from Penske Racing, and it was great to drive the Hot Wheels Dodge this weekend here in Montreal.
All right, he gave it all he got. Alex Tagliano brings it home second. Shannon?
Well, not the finish that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wanted, but you are still the points leader by 8 points. I know you were battling those brakes from pretty much the first lap. Can you describe the day?
Our Fastenal Mustang was decent in practice, and we were just kind of riding around, biding our time, and the brakes weren't the best. We'll have to go back and maybe do some more testing and try to get the brakes better for us. But we were just riding around and thought we were going to have the day we were looking for. We found ourselves in the top 10 there a couple times, and just riding around, and then we all got bottled up down here getting in turn 1, and I guess it cracked the fitting on top of the radiator, and thought we were going to be able to finish, but we didn't. But we'll just go on to Bristol next week, where we will know we'll have a fast Fastenal Mustang there, and hopefully have a better result.
Thanks, Ricky. Marty?
All right, let's take a look at the motorsports calendar. NHRA drag fans, you've got qualifying tonight and the finals tomorrow on ESPN2 at 11 and 10 Eastern, respectively. Pure Michigan 400 tomorrow noon Eastern on ESPN. The Le Mans Series of Road America 4:30 Eastern tomorrow on ABC, and will be coming to you from Bristol Friday night 7 Eastern on ESPN. Coming up next, Little League World Series presented by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For our entire ESPN crew, I'm Marty Reed. Thanks so much for joining us. Till we meet again.